Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we bout to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. 716 make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and him. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host, Aramis.
I'll be back in the building. 40 keys. What's up, y'all?
No doubt, no doubt. All day long. Listen, we got a lot of heat for you today, as always. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of entertainment in there.
Positivity.
Is that what we're doing now? We're just going to spend the rest of the offseason just trying to be positive?
I'm just going to, hey, as long as nobody talk about my defense, we're going to be positive.
Maybe there's something to be said about the ability to get people riled up and excited. We're going to talk. That's too much of a dopamine hit throughout the offseason. You know what I mean? Like, how many times can we really do that?
Well, we're going to talk. That's down on the docket. We'll push that to back in. Yep. What you got first? What's up?
So, interestingly enough, there was I got a few things we heard. Okay. There was a comment made by Deion Dawkins a couple of days ago, if I'm not mistaken. What's today? The 30th, so 4 days ago. Did you hear about that comment there? No, you did not hear about that comment there. So
I'm scared.
Deion was on with remember the short guy with the big ears that used to host on NFL Network? I forget his name. I'm sorry for saying it like that. If somebody knows him and is telling him about this right now, I apologize sincerely.
I can't talk about big ears, but it's cool.
Stop. Yours are not even close, bro. Not even close.
I forgot his name. I know you're talking about though.
Yeah. So basically he was on with this guy, and they were having a discussion about, what's Joe Brady like, and how basically, there was a question posed that forced Deion Dawkins to discuss the difference between Sean McDermott and Joe Brady, right? And I had heard about this earlier today, but it was presented to me from the standpoint of, yo, did you hear what Deion said about McDermott? I'm like,
of course.
Nah, I usually on the weekends, I try not to be on social media as much, especially, like Friday going into, Saturday, we just finished the show. I like to, decompress, all that kind of stuff, and just be present with the family. Right. Mm-hmm. So hearing about this today, I'm like, let me find out what's going on with this. So I look it up on Google, and the AI overview reads, Buffalo Bills offensive tackle Deion Dawkins has praised the new team culture under Joe Brady, describing it as swagged up, energetic, and authentic compared to previous, more rigid military style. Now, people are going to think I'm just a straight up contrarian when I say this. I don't think that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't like, especially on the platform, for him to be, so bold as to speak directly towards, this is what was wrong with McDermott's culture. No player would do that. First and foremost, for self-preservation, because if you're willing to do that about an old coach, your current coach is going to be very, very weary of how they treat you going forward. You know what I mean? If something goes wrong and we have to let you go, you know what I mean? So at that point, like, we got to find a way to ruin your reputation before you leave here. That's what most teams do. Right. That's what they did with Diggs. So I'm saying all that to say, I'm shocked. I'm really, like, it seems like everybody has now fully committed to we hate Sean McDermott because the owner fired him. And sorry, go ahead.
No, say Deion Dawkins doesn't surprise me. He's the ultimate team guy. Ultimate, whatever's going on in Buffalo is what I'm with. If McDermott was still here, oh, I love McDermott. I'm just see Reese. See it. He's swigging it.
I took a little bit before the show, and now I just can't put it down. So
it's refreshing.
I finally got one.
It's delicious. And you notice he ain't doing that. He ain't fighting nothing today. It's the Reese. He's not fighting nothing. He's healthy. 2 parts of it. All right.
You ain't even got to do the read it.
See? But yeah, I mean, Deion Dawkins to me, he's the ultimate team guy, if you will, when it comes to because he's old enough now. He's 32 years old or whatever the case may be. Elder statesman in the league, on the team especially. One of McDermott's first draft picks. And then now we had to move on to the next guy. Now everybody get behind me. I'm the snowman. I'm the caricature of this team.
Right.
So I have to push the narrative, because when they fired McDermott, he liked McDermott. Now we're getting away from that. We're going to this.
Right. And that's kind of where I was trying to get with all this. It really just comes down to, players are going to love who they're with.
Yep.
It's just the nature of the game. You know what I mean? Like whoever my leader is, that's who I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
And he even said at the end of his, statement or response to that question, we're all with Josh. So whoever, wherever Josh goes, we go. Like, basically, I'm paraphrasing. It's not literally what he said, but he spoke to, we're all behind Josh.
Mm-hmm.
So as Josh goes, we go. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to be clear about in this instance. And I guess what I'm trying to make clear, the sentiment I'm trying to make clear is I hate to see stories get spun like this in media. And when McDermott was still the head coach here, there was a lot of spin on players leaving because they're not McDermott guys and they don't belong here in this culture, and we don't need bad seeds messing up the culture. Like, all the spin was praising this culture and this and everything that Sean McDermott had done. Now he's fired. Now it's like everything attached to him was negative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And as a guy who wanted a full-on, emptying of the furniture in its entirety
mm-hmm.
out of the house,
mm-hmm.
I kind of feel bad for my part that I played. It's now.
My mom told you she's gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is coming full circle for me, because the way that the city seems to, like, destroy people when they leave or when they're pushed out. I don't think that's right either.
Right.
If you're in a public position, you've put yourself in a place to be judged and be, analyzed and all that kind of stuff. Same for you and I. That's why I don't take issue when people say we're negative, we're this or that.
Mm-hmm.
We can't control your perception. That's up to you.
Right.
But if we're relying on common information without doing our research, we'll land on Deion Dawkins was bad-mouthing Sean McDermott. And I'm sure he would be the first to say, no,
I wasn't.
Go look at what I actually said.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, just again, I caution folks, like, really, the same way that I did today, like, do your own research, because what I had heard came from what I would call probably one of the most reliable sources in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you got to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. How many times we get misquoted on this little old show? You guys said, no, I didn't.
True.
No, I didn't.
Be like live on the show in the comments 3 seconds later. It's like, no, I didn't say.
Like, when? Like, am I here? I didn't say that at all. Right. You hear 2 words and they know what we've said before, and it's like, you guys can't change your opinion. I can, and I will, because I'm trying to stay honest here. I'm trying to stay objective and honest. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When it came to numerous players, numerous people, I had to look inside. I'm like, okay, all right. They weren't that bad, or wow, I was wrong about that one.
Right.
It happens. But part of that too is the defense mechanism when people are like, I told you so. You don't need I told you so.
Right.
I mean, I told y'all James Cook was the dude. But I'm not gonna keep beating the drum. I mean, it happened. It was what it was, and I'm happy he is who he is. We move on.
Yep. Let's say what's up to the folk. We got a lot more folk in here right now.
Yeah, I was gonna do a roll call. We got Weston, we got Tommy, we got Laura, we got D, we got Nady, we got Kato, we got Videsh, we got Jay Ham, my cousin. We got, that's where I saw Sonny's son Brian, Roy Collins, Senke. Yes, sir.
Oh, Sean Kula in the building. Wow.
Oh yeah.
You're right. They don't want to hear that.
Cream Boy 2. Where's Cream Boy 1? Anyway.
I feel like we said that before, too. Yeah.
Let's see. But yeah, no, we are not going to just turn into some positive podcast, but we are going to always try to give you the truth or give you our truth and let you guys tell us yours. That's part of the beauty of the show. I'm going to tell you the truth in my eyes. You tell me what you got. And Roy said, come on, Keys, were you being wrong? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Never, especially not you. Steve, what's going on? S1 Nico.
Give me 1 second. I got to post this in the chat here.
You got it.
Maybe I can minimize this one so you can see the comments still. Yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, go for it.
Post Positive Podcast.
What do you say?
Post Positive Podcast.
Oh my
Big
God.
shocker.
That's what it should have been right
check
there.
is in the mail. The check is in the mail. Yeah, so let's see. What else do we have?
Yeah,
Dalton Kincaid's 5th year option has been picked up. $8 million plus. Not a bad deal. You talked to Brandon Beane about it earlier this week, today, yesterday, whenever it was.
Not bad.
And he said, yeah, we put the paperwork in already. So we have informed him and his agent. They will be bills for the next 2 years. And he also talked about how they're going to try to tiptoe around Dalton Kincaid as oft injured self.
They're going to tiptoe around him?
Yeah, he said they're right now the plan is to see where he is, but if it comes to doing 2 full days followed by a day off or a limited day or whatever case may be, just load management, which to me, I really don't care about. You do what you got to do to keep him on the field.
Right.
At this point, the offense, what the NFL is about, what taking care of your body is about. Now it's just limiting the injuries you have. You got to get a surgery, get the surgery, but the guy that they signed as the training and conditioning guy, he should have that on a sticky note on his board. Work with Dalton. If I got to strengthen the leg, whatever the case may be, work on his support muscles. I got to do that because you can't one size fits all this thing because it's been the same thing too long.
Right. And what I like about this is the interest for me is just kind of seeing how they manage this and how this change in the culture affects the team, on the field, right? Because this is a little bit more player centric than they've ever been. You know what I'm saying? From the standpoint of, before it was about toughness, before it was about pushing through and persevering and all that kind of stuff. Oh, you injured, but are you on the field though?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's all right. Load management. We're going to take care of our guys. We'll make sure that they're good to go on game day and blah, blah, blah. And that is definitely a more player centric culture when you just it, right off the bat, that's a clear cut change in how the team values their players. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. We don't want to rest on our laurels of if you're not on the field, then you're soft.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you're truly pushing through and you're doing it for the love of your teammates,
mm-hmm.
I don't care if your ankle's broken. I don't care if you have a torn ACL, Tyrell Shavers, you're going to stay on the field and do what you got to do, even if it costs you a job.
Right.
Yeah. And that's one thing I worry about with Shavers too, is it may have costed him a job.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, I think, Brandon Beane, when he ran down the list of people, in the wide receiver room, he didn't say Shavers at the back end of the roster, so that bodes kind of well. I think he's done enough to miss this year, and they'll do whatever they do with him. I don't know when his contract is up though, so maybe that's kind of dicey. I'm not sure. Yeah, is it after this year? Or is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. Let me look it up real quick.
Okay. Albert said, please trade Kincaid. He's not the guy to be healthy. Get as much as we can for him now before we pay him $20 million a year. Has the same injury for 2 years and won't get the surgery. That's not he won't. It's they told him he didn't need it. So they said they can rehab him and he doesn't need surgery. That's what they told him, and that's what he listened to, and we see what happened. I can tell you, getting your knee drained is no joke. Anybody here that's done it after an injury, no. Mm-mm. That right there was enough to tell me no more sports for you. I mean, obviously I played longer, but if David have said I'm draining your knee one more time, no, you're not. I'm good.
So this is his last year.
Okay.
And what's really tough about that is he's going to spend most of it rehabbing.
Mm-hmm.
And when he comes back, he's not going to be 100%. His contract's up after that.
Yeah, they'll do something with him. They'll bring him back on a team-friendly deal.
Think so?
Yeah.
I hope so.
They will. Because they can't do enough in the wide receiver room this year. So they need a body, and they know who he is. He knows He knows Joe Brady. You know, he knows the like they said with DeMar Hamlin, he knows the building, whatever the hell that means.
It just means he knows where the bathroom is.
Right. He knows the doors that he could be the first guy in and the last guy out of. That's what he knows.
So his final is the final year on Shaver's contract is 1.078 million. $1,078,500. Let's just put it like that. If they were to release him, it's a dead cap hit of $3,500.
Yeah, it's not going to be. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's worth trying. You know, it's definitely worth trying. Even as a re-sign, it'd be a contract where you can get out of it for penny. So I mean, there's no harm at all in bringing him back. He'd be what, 27 next year?
He's 27 this year.
Okay, so 28 next year. Yeah, I mean, a special teams guy. That's why they got Sherfield. Sherfield is going to fill the role for now. I mean, they talked about Sherfield as having a tough go the first time and this, that, and third. He's a special teamer, whatever. You know, so I mean, Sherfield is what he is, and we know what his baseline is. We've seen him do something to catch against Miami, where everybody raves about the toe tap at the back of the end zone. But you know, we know what we're getting out of him on special teams as long as he's healthy.
Yeah. Sherfield is 30, by the way.
Yeah.
And if I am okay, he signed a 1-year contract. Let me see if I can find the terms here. Nope. Spotrac doesn't even have Spotrac doesn't even have the terms yet. It's weird. Like, this should have been out by now.
What terms of what?
Sherfield's contract.
Oh, Sherfield, yeah, because they're trying to figure out how to not embarrass him, so they want to just hold off on it.
They don't have to report it because technically they're not, top 51.
Right, they're like, it's irrelevant. Roy said Shavers is mainly a special teams guy. You don't get much out of him as a wide receiver. Okay.
Like pretty much every time he touched the ball, he was making an impact play. How do you mean? How do you?
Roy doesn't like him.
I guess that's what it would have to. I just don't know how you justify that statement with what he's put on the field.
I mean, even if he is a special teams guy, if you're going to put him on the field as a special teams ace, as they like to call people, he'll give you 15 to 20 receptions. Hopefully, no more than that, because that means your wide receiver room is doing good. So, anything he can give you outside of the special teams market is what found money is what they call it. So, can't body Sherfield. Roy is really high on the wide receiver room right now. I can tell from this, he put it twice. Can't body Sherfield. He loving Sherfield and Shavers and
Roy is just as high on these receivers as he's been on this show.
He is.
So, not surprised.
He's high on life too. Or in life, high, and whatever.
Right. In life, I think is more accurate.
Yeah. Speaking of the wide receiver room, I don't know if you heard Brandon Beane's comments on the wide receiver room. He named out the ones we had.
Vaguely.
And then he finally admitted what I said a long time ago.
Which was? Everybody
can't do everything. He said
that.
Yeah, he said that out of his own mouth, on his 5'8" mouth.
Really?
He said we got a lot of guys on the team. They have talent. We got to figure out what their skill sets are. And everybody, we need to know where they fit. Everybody can't do everything. Sean Cooley, he's a genius. He's only been listening to our show because Tommy told him to listen to me so he can see what he can plug apart. Tommy's probably sent him a telegram. That's what he did. A telegram, not an email, not Pony Express, a telegram pipe,
Tommy's been very vocal about you and I's hatred of Brandon Beane.
And that's right. I accept it. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's not hatred, by the way. It's just
it's just the way I see it.
Right. It's based on the evidence. It's a lack of understanding of where the value is coming from.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people say a lot of times he's one of the worst GMs in the league. I won't go that far. But I will say, Sean said no one dislikes Beane more than I.
You know what it's like? It's like, it's a glass half full conversation when it comes to Beane.
Yeah,
and I think that's where people get locked into the terminology of opinions when it comes to Brandon Beane. Because I'll give you a prime example: these 3 signings, Sherfield, Corbett, and who's my guy? The center.
Cushenberry.
Right? Those 3 guys. I'm not even including the DeMar signing because that's minimal contract impact. But getting those 3 guys when he got them, and the fact that they're not in the top 51. So technically they don't, like, their contracts are not going to count anyway unless they make the team. You can look at that and you can say, man, masterful job from Brandon Beane getting 3 guys in here on great deals that work awesome for the team, and they're camp bodies, and hey, if they make it, that's even better. Right. That's the people who see the glass half full on all this, right? Glass half empty people are like, you brought in a bunch of guys that aren't guaranteed to win the position. Like, why spend $3 million on Alec Anderson to come in and compete when you can draft a guy to definitively take the job, or you can sign Wyatt Teller to definitively take the job and not have to worry about whether or not they can do it well enough to get you to a Super Bowl if it's supposed to be about winning a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like being objective. I can see both sides. I land on the latter, where you'll have to forgive me for not trying to, just completely release my inhibitions about these moves and see them the way that I see them. It's just what it is. But I think that's the frustrating thing for me, because here we are trying to, have an educated conversation about this. And, these moves, they do put you in a position to have to figure out, like, which side of the fence do you stand on? Yeah. And there's enough perception to be had on both sides of the fence for both sides to feel like they're right.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it as the same way people talk about some of the signings that I've been okay with, or some of the moves and the fits. When people say defense has holes, which is, I'm like, where? You'll say, Corbett and Cushenberry and those guys are like, all right, good. That's good depth. I am of the mind that we're talking about defensive holes with guys that we know can play and a system that we haven't seen yet. And I say, okay, is Cushenberry realistically pushing for a guard spot? Or is Corbett realistically looking at a starting spot? Not because we don't have anybody there, but is there somebody that they're getting ready to take out of the starting lineup? I'm looking at an offensive line that's pretty much set based on returning starters from last year. So there's one spot that we're looking at, and I'm not ready to hand it to Van Pran Granger. I want him to earn it. I'm not ready to hand it to Alec Anderson. I want him to earn it. But I want him to earn it by competing with the best guys that we can get at that position. I'm not talking about, was the guy from Dallas back in the day, Sam Martin or whatever his name was. Yeah, I'm not talking about Zach Martin. I'm not talking about, that ilk, Nelson's and all those guys. We couldn't get that because other teams got it already. Right. So that's why I say based on what we can get. I don't want to hear we couldn't get him just because we have this player. We couldn't get this guy because we have McGovern. My thing is, McGovern, you re-signed him. He was a starting guard before he went to center. So if he can't hold that starting center, guess what? Your line just got better because McGovern goes back to guard. He got center money, but he's going back to guard. And if you want to be a part of this thing, Mr. Pizza Man, I'm not saying you asked Josh to get you back in, but you were willing to do pretty much whatever it took to get back in. So keep that same energy when we say, he's just as you at the center, but we got that guard for you. We want you to start at guard. All right, I'll do whatever it takes, just like you did when it took the contract. And I don't need all the players to buy in immediately, but this is the paycheck. You don't buy in for your paycheck. Everything they tell you to do, you don't like it. I don't like everything my bosses tell me to do, but I know I need a paycheck. And it's a hell of a paycheck when you're a football player. So I'm going to do what I have to do to keep getting paid, and if I don't like it, I'll push for a trade, get you some compensation and find another replacement. And that's the churn. That's the way this turns. I'm as a player, I'm not looking to appease my owners, and owners, I'm not looking to make my players all feel great about everything I do. We want to win. Right. Are you in or not? Like McDermott called Beane. Are you on board or not? Because you put pen to paper, that means you're willing to be on the 53. Just like when you work in an airplane game, you'll never hear them say how many passengers on board a plane, how many seats are on the plane. It's always how many souls, because it's people that occupy space. I didn't assign anything to you once you bought the ticket. I can change you around wherever I need to do it. And that's how you need to look at football. When you're looking at everybody, we got even me. We got Rousseau. So how are we going to get this guy? I guess if Rousseau can't hold that position, he needs to find another one on the field. Can he play football? Yeah, he can play football. But if he's not better than whoever his competition is at outside linebacker or the 4I or wherever they put him, you got to find somewhere else to beat. That's on you to do. That's what the offseason, that's what the OTAs and training camp and your own personal time is where you get to your edge. Once you get to the 18-game season, it's over with. That's what you have. Right. You're going to get sharper on some of the concepts, but everything has been installed before you get to the first game.
Yep. Do you know what Wyatt Teller's cap hit this season is?
I saw it was pretty low, wasn't it?
It is $3.5 million.
Yep.
Next season it goes up to 9.4, and then 2 void years after that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You couldn't do that this year as the Bills and get a veteran guy in here. I mean, if you're paying Alec Anderson $3 million, why not pay Wyatt Teller $3.5?
You offered Vandermark $3.5, so.
But this is a guy that the reason I brought Wyatt Teller is it didn't seem like Beane wanted to get rid of Wyatt Teller. That was more of a McDermott decision because McDermott felt like he just wasn't a fit. And lo and behold, you got a chance to get the guy. He was there. He's 32 years old. He fits that, age range of culture that the Bills like to have in the building. Again, the main reason why I even say Wyatt Teller is if you are truly trying to eliminate need in the draft, then you don't play around with the guys that protect your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go get an Austin Corbett and an Alec Anderson and say,
duke it out.
Right. Put a pencil on the table and say, last man standing wins. Like
right.
That's not how you treat your quarterback.
That's like in a Range Rover and getting Sears tires.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Who's echoing? Is it both of us or just hey, somebody said we got a bad echo.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Laura said she doesn't have an echo. Roy doesn't either. Uh-oh.
Okay. So if let me see. If you're hearing an echo, it's possible that you're watching us on a cell phone and the volume might be up too high, or a laptop maybe. It could be a laptop. But I'm not sure why there would be. Try headphones.
He said he had 1, 2. Okay, he got it. Okay. He had 2 windows open. That's why I thought we did, because when you put up put the link in there, is that still open?
No. See, that's why I closed that.
Right, I was like, uh-oh.
Ain't trying to do that.
But yeah, no, I agree. That's the thing. Connor is a Pro Bowl center, so if Connor is a Pro Bowl center, he should be able to win the battle. That Pro Bowl doesn't. I mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter to me, but I want iron to really sharpen iron.
Yes.
No feeling. If Connor McGovern really wants that center, he wants to be a captain, whatever the case may be, you're going to put in that work, and you're going to come back better this year than you did last year. I understand he didn't give up a sack. I understand, he played relatively well at center. But if we could get a better center on top of our really good center to above really good, whatever that is, then we're cooking with grease. And I think for me, there's no loyalties. Josh Allen is proven, and plus, you guys like a $60 million cap hit. We're not going to mess with that right now, because heaven forbid somebody comes and beats that out. How do you explain that? You explain a generational talent comes in and can't beat Josh. He beats Josh Allen out. Now he's your backup because he's got $60 million. Like, my nose will start bleeding at that point. James Cook, you could come in with a competition piece for James Cook, because he's only $11-12 million this year. It's a lot, but it's not. I thought he got underpaid.
Not for a running back of his caliber.
Right, and that's the thing. You could, if you wanted to, you could, but we got too many other holes right now. If we had everything filled up, like, let's do it, because worst case scenario, him and James are 1A and 1B, however you want to see it. Ray Davis, you're fighting for the fringe. Ty Johnson, you beefing with Ray Davis. That's how you build a championship team.
Right.
We're going in here like this hole's filled, that hole's filled. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but every year is a new year.
Yeah, I think it's the name of the game is finding the best weapons possible at every single position, right? And what's hard to get around is the argument that the guys we signed were the best possible options at those positions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you say that they were the best possible options, then part of that argument has to be, well, they were the best possible option for the dollar amount that they were asking for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you are going to say that they were the best possible option, and you are forced to include, thank you, Sam, and you are forced to include, the dollar amount that they were asking for, well, then the other part of that conversation that you really don't want to include into your argument that doesn't favor you is, well, how did we get into that financial position where those were the only guys that we could afford for the dollar amount that they were asking? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's where you kind of, you're screwed if you take that stance of, well, these were the best guys available.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just from a purely logical and a pure numbers game, you can't say that without arriving at, well, then your GM put you in a bad spot if that's all you could get. Right. Because other teams that were, competing with you just 2 years ago or just last year have gotten significantly better and added money onto their books. Mm-hmm. The Broncos beat you. They added Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
there's to say, to be fair, Bodega said in there he was a Pro Bowler, but not all pro, kind of governed. And I mean, my thing is, you're right. I mean, I just strive for it, but Creed Humphrey and Tyler Linderbaum, if we had those two guys, we wouldn't have a center. We have a big issue with Beane because he can't afford to pay, the guys that we have without doing roster gymnastics. And Linderbaum just cracked the market wide open. So I mean, there's a gift and a curse, and the thing about the offensive line I'm scared of is the fact that Cromer's not here anymore. When he left the last time,
it fell apart.
It
got bad.
It got bad. And for him, it was like it wasn't the best. It wasn't as good as we've seen this iteration, but it was better than what it was after he left. So what was that? Was it Bobby Johnson like that? Remember, whoever it was after him? Yeah. So,
is it Bobby April?
Nah, Bobby April. Yeah, Bobby. That was a special teams guy. That was.
Oh yeah,
that was back. Yeah.
But let me say this about the guy that they hired though.
Do you think
the run game in Pittsburgh was the best part of that offense?
Mm-hmm.
And that run game in Pittsburgh was the most consistent part about that team overall. Like, that's how they got the 9 wins that they got, is through that run game, through what they could do off of that run game, right? And the guy responsible for the offensive line play that basically created those lanes for the running backs and those openings in the run game is the guy that we now have.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can safely say that there's going to be a decent amount of continuity in the run game. Not saying it's going to be the same exact thing.
Yeah.
But I temper my optimism. I'll say I temper my optimism on that, because it's the guys that we employ and the scheme that we run is all about athletic linemen playing in a zone scheme.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little different from what they did in Pittsburgh. So we'll have to see if that's a lot of the same stuff that we do, because it could be, well, this coach is comfortable coaching this style of blocking, and this is what works better for him. And, the guys may not respond as well to it, or like, we don't know how that's going to play out. You know what I'm saying? But again, if I'm looking at all of the positives, I also have to include the offensive linemen in Pittsburgh have been terrible throughout the years. And for that to be the best part of their team on a team that went 9-8.
Yeah. Notoriously bad.
Yeah.
Notoriously bad.
So, I mean, it's like he did an amazing job getting that offensive line to perform the way they did, but how good was it for a 9-8 team? Yeah. You know what I mean? Again, it's another one of those, glass half full, glass half empty kind of deals.
And I saw this comment by, I got to get the right mouse. I'm all over the place. Okay. Nope, not that one. This one. Steven, sounds like Beane built offense, McDermott built mediocre defense. Defense wins championships. Okay. But this is where I am with it. Beane built offense. I have an issue with that only because How good is his offense without two players, Josh and James? You take Josh and James out of the equation, who else is anybody afraid of? So we're talking about building an offense like it's a juggernaut, but no, you just got really, really good player and really great players, or a really great player, however you want to look at it, in two of the most important positions on the field. Now, what I heard was people saying in the end of last season, Josh is looking mortal. He looked slow. He was hurt, yeah. But when you're 30, that's going to start to happen more and more and more.
Right.
So how do you insulate that and still allow your elite quarterback to still be elite? And that's by adding talent. See, what we've been known for, Beane, yes, what he's been known for is saying, got it, we're set there. No, you got to keep going. You keep going. You keep going. You keep going. The same way they did with the defensive line. You keep going because you put all this money to the defensive line that doesn't really do anything, but then you got Josh Allen and James Cook, and you say, we're good. Figure it out. Khalil Shakir, we're good. Put whoever out there. Doesn't matter. Put Sherfield out there. Deontay Hardy. Put whoever. It doesn't matter because Stephon Diggs don't need it. We can get that out of anybody. I'm still waiting. No, everybody's going to say DJ Moore's going to do what Stephon Diggs did. Okay, I have to see it. Because it was I was talking to Dorothy last week about this. It was funny because she actually she didn't say anything in jest, but she also said that Stephon Diggs was a possession receiver, and that's inherently not right. Stephon Diggs is a route runner. A possession receiver is a big, strong guy that uses his body to catch the ball. That's what they thought Keon Coleman was, what they want Josh Palmer to be, what they thought, Claypool and Kelvin Benjamin, those guys are. What Stephon Diggs was he used his feet and his quickness and his short area burst to get open when he wasn't really physical with anybody unless he just didn't like you. Right. And that's what we're missing. DJ Moore is going to be optimal possession guy that turns, a short pass into a good first down or a short pass to a moderate gain. But what we're still looking for is that shifty guy that defenses are like, we got to focus on that guy. We got to bracket that guy. Because I DJ Moore is fine, but I don't think that he's the guy at this, especially at the age of 28, 29 years old. Everybody's like, oh man, we got to bracket him. The whole defense has to slide to that side. He has to prove that. Right. Now he might prove it, and I'm all for it. But walking onto the Bills is not the same as when Stephon Diggs came to Buffalo. It's like, oh snap, we got a young quarterback that runs all over the place. Now he got a receiver because you saw what he did with Beasley. He got Beasley, and then you added to that. See, that's the first time that we heard him add to what they had. John Brown, Beasley, now Steph Diggs. Keep going. All right, keep going. And then they didn't. Yep. So it's like I wanted to see an era where a Stephon Diggs fades to black on the team where he becomes the number 2 by virtue of a young guy taking that spot. I wanted to see, because they told you in New England, he was hard on the young guys. Like, yo, you're better than this. He told them, you're better than this. I expect more from you. And that's not what you would hear from somebody that's a diva, somebody that's all about me. Like Von Miller. He said, he's a diva. No, Von Miller's like, when I was younger, I wasn't telling young guys nothing to make them better than me. But now I'm older. Sure, I teach everything I know. And at this point, you saw Stephon Diggs start that, and people are going to say, no, he wasn't. I'm not going to argue with you guys. I can tell you what's documented and what they've said with the younger guys in Houston and in New England. And that's what we need to get better on offense. Adding people to the offense is not going to make the offense better. Adding talent to the offense is what makes it better.
And namely playmakers, because that's what Brandon Beane said we needed 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It was blue chippers, then it was playmakers last year, difference makers. And if you I'm trying not to say too much about this presser because I'm gonna record a video about it this Saturday and put that out.
Which one is that, Brandon Beane?
Yeah. But one key thing that we didn't hear him say is DJ Moore is that playmaker we've been looking for. He talked about his run after catch. He talked about, all the positive aspects of him as a person and that, but he did not say that we found our playmaker. And that makes a difference. It absolutely makes a difference. I guarantee they would have said that specifically if they had successfully traded for Max Crosby or successfully signed Trey Hendrickson. They would have said we were looking for a playmaker. We found our play. Now, maybe that means they really only thought they needed a playmaker on defense because in their mind, their playmaker on offense is Josh. But that's not how the game works. you know, as an NFL team, you don't roll Pat Mahomes out there with nobody and expect to get to a Super Bowl. He had Travis Kelce. He had other guys to help out. It wasn't just the Tyreek Hills and the Travis Kelce's. It was the support players, the Juju Smith-Schusters, the Mecole Hardmans, the Tyquan Thorntons. You know what I mean? Like there are other guys that played roles, but those other guys, those role players, aren't significant unless you have a difference maker.
Yep.
Otherwise, they come off as just guys.
Yep.
Josh Palmer, excuse me.
Yep.
Like that's who we're talking about here. Because in order for that $11 million that he's making to really matter, DJ Moore has to go off, which should open things up for Palmer on the other side of the field and vice versa. Right? What if that doesn't happen this season?
Yeah.
That's what we really have to ask ourselves. What if this move isn't enough?
Right.
Right? And I'm not encouraging people to assume the worst. I'm simply asking an objective question. How are you going to feel? What are you going to think if it doesn't work? Listen, our invite link is at the top of the chat. Give us a call and let us know exactly what you're thinking on this. What would be on your mind if after signing or trading for DJ Moore rather, and everything that they've done this year, we end up back at the same spot next year? Are you going to feel like we wasted it all? Are you going to feel like we should have gone harder and gone all out to trade for Max Crosby and find a way to incentivize the Vikings to give us Justin Jefferson or whatever the case may be? I'm not saying we had to make massive moves like that all over the place, but you didn't get what people widely regard as a difference maker. Yeah. What you got was a player in DJ Moore that everybody believes is a really, really good player, including you and I. We believe that about him. But if the name of the game is getting over the hump, then the bar is not statistics. The bar is not how well he's going to do in the regular season. The bar is not even what he did in the regular season, you know, his last 8 seasons. The bar is what's he going to do on 4th and 5 in Kansas City? What's he going to do on 3rd and 10 in Buffalo against, you know, and you got to, this is your chance to get the go-ahead touchdown. You know what I'm saying? How's your left tackle going to play in that one? Like all of this stuff matters. But if we're not willing to consider what happens if it doesn't work, then it's always going to be, well, I love everything they do because you're pushing the potential for negative stuff out of your brain, which is not objective at all.
Yeah, no. And to go back, Samson said, pull up the Trubisky tape. He didn't miss a beat.
I'm glad you pulled that up. Go ahead.
Well, you're not going to like what I say, but I'm not going to say he's Josh Allen, but I thought we needed to move on from Trubisky, but we don't need Kyle Allen. We needed to find somebody, a young guy that can do what Trubisky can do, because Buffalo tell you he's dookie juice. If you listen to most people, like, but that's the guy that I said when he was on the team. I said, if he has to play, he can get you probably 500. He can get you, half and half with what's out there, because he's not a bad quarterback. He went to, where do you go to? Arizona? Where do you go?
Who?
Trubisky. Tennessee.
I think it was Tennessee. Hold on.
And I'll just be presumptuous and say it was Tennessee, because I'm going to make this point. He's going to Tennessee saying Cam Ward ain't good. I'm going to take that job. Tennessee. Okay, good. He said, I'm going to take that job from Cam Ward. He's not that good. That's what Trubisky's saying, at least. And see, that's the mentality that you want when you come to Buffalo. Even though I'm not going to be Josh Allen, I'm going to take that job. He's not that good. And we've all said that about somebody that whooped our butts. He ain't that tough. Somebody that outlives you ain't that strong. But your mentality is that I'm a dog. I belong. I don't want to hear somebody say, I came here to be the backup. I don't want to hear that. The reality, but at any given moment, you might have to play. You see, when Trubisky was the backup and Josh Allen got hurt for whatever, he didn't run out of the tent with like half of his arm hanging off his body. It was a play that was made, and Trubisky went out there. He made a 32-yard third down, and Josh comes back in. Thanks, bro. No problem.
Trey Lance is 26 years old. He signed a 1-year deal. His cap number this season is $2.5 million. How much is Kyle Allen making? I'll check right now. I will tell you right
I hope
now.
it's league men.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen may be the worst quarterback in the
I mean,
in the NFL.
He knows the system. You got to give him that. He knows the system.
Yeah.
You got to at least give him that. Where's Kyle? Oh, here he is. So his cap hit is 1.5. So you pay an extra $1 million,
mm-hmm.
and you get a guy that's four years younger, definitely just as, if not maybe more mobile than Josh Allen,
mm-hmm.
and the arm strength is there. Not as much as Josh,
he's Josh. Had Josh not had the ability he had, make him who he is.
Yeah,
he's got the arm strength. He doesn't have the accuracy, but Josh still wasn't accurate at all in college or in his early years in pros.
But with Harbaugh last year, he looked pretty good in LA.
Yeah, and we're talking about a backup for $2.5 million.
Thank you. It's not hard. Again, like I think the reason we're pointing this out, and you can correct me if I'm wrong,
mm-hmm.
is to show there are other options mm-hmm. besides the guys that we get. Yeah. It doesn't have to be, well, these guys signed with Buffalo, so they must have been the best option.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you don't know what the other options are doesn't also mean the Bills are right in every move they make either.
Right.
So you got to be willing to question things, and just because you question things doesn't mean that you don't believe in it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. We're talking about backups, and when we're talking about Kyle Allen, it's like, what do you want him to do? What do you want this tool to do? And this instrument needs to be able to do this, that, and third. Can Kyle Allen replicate Josh Allen at all? The answer is no.
No.
The answer is no.
It's pure game manager.
Yeah, so it's like Trubisky. You see Trubisky, he can wiggle a little bit. He can get out there a little bit. He can throw the ball on the run. He can do the things that. Was he great at it? I mean, he was a top end backup, I would say. The number 2 overall pick in his draft year as your backup. Sure. And I'm sitting here thinking, what could we have done? Trey Lance. What could we have done? Could we have signed the guy that me and Mel were lobbying for in Joe Milton 2 years ago? Could we have gotten that? And then they traded for it. Could we have done it? And where would we have been had we had that still on a rookie deal? So it's one of those deals where had Josh got hurt and Joe Milton went out there and showed his tail, other teams like, wait a minute, he's coming up on a contract year. Buffalo, what you want for that dude? We need something, and we want him on we want to see him in our system before we sign him to a long-term deal. The Buffalo, oh wow, our 6th round draft pick now turned into a 3rd round return. Doesn't sound like much, but it's something. But see, that's when Beane was talking about somebody, I think it might have been Tim Graham asked him about the use of Josh Allen's contract as to why they can't afford anything. He said, well, that's not what we mean. We just mean that, we got to be creative in who we get and know our limits and what we can afford and dance around and be creative, so when you're looking at our backups and who we're paying to be a backup, why we're paying so much for backups, it's not because we brought them in to be a starter and didn't pan out. We brought them in to compete, knowing that they're probably going to be backups, but the only way you can get them in Buffalo is to pay them this outrageous amount of money for what they're going to be doing. Ogunjobi, there was no reason for a $10 million cap hit before the suspension came down. There was no reason, for Michael Hoyt to be commanding $21 million, whatever he got for 3 years. What did he do in LA? It's an unproven that he did stuff, but he wasn't a primary, but like that's $2 million less than Bradley Chubb. And we know what Bradley Chubb has done in Miami as a starter. He's a name, he's old, about the same age, I think, right? Hoyt and Chubb. Chubb's a little older, a year or two older.
No, Hoyt I think is like 28.
Oh, is he 28? Okay, Chubb is 30. So, he'll be 30. He said. So,
one second.
Yeah.
So Hoyt is. Oh, here it is. He's 29. 29.
Okay.
So a year younger.
Yeah. So I mean, you're getting Bradley Chubb for this, but you're getting Hoyt for that. Hoyt could be better, but now you got two pieces that you don't know how either one of them looks in your defense. For what is that, $16 million cap hit?
And I don't know how any of the three of your best pass rushers has a significant role in this defense, because Rousseau is not the best pass rusher of the three, and Hoyt has got to get some play somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now you're paying Hoyt what you're paying him this year. You're paying Chubb what you're paying him this year, and you're paying Rousseau the $19 million that you owe him for part-time work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and part of the reason you wanted Chubb, which you cited when you signed Chubb, was this is a full-time, you know, a 3-down starter. This is a guy that can play, you know, every down.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that means Hoyt's gonna have to sit. So say goodbye to that $27 million or the fullness of the value of it.
Right.
Because Rousseau's not coming off the field.
No. Yeah, that's the thing. And so you're gonna put Rousseau at a 4I, so that means Chubb or Hoyt's gonna be lining up. Well, Hoyt might be lining up in inside. Well, he could line up in the 4I. He could actually be lined up as a mug. He could line up as a jack.
I am interested to see Rousseau at 4I. They touted him as being a guy who can rush inside and outside before too.
I don't see a world where he's going to be making his money as outside linebacker. I just don't see it.
He's not nimble enough.
No, I mean, especially across from Chubb and across from Hoyt, I just don't see it. Like I said, I'm not down on Hoyt at all. I'm not. The Chubb signing to me was like, that's money we could have spent somewhere else probably. Yeah. That's somewhere we could have put money on, Wyatt Teller or if you want Trubisky or if you want, whatever else. It's just when you get all these duplicates. Mm-hmm. My world, I'm like, let me see what we can do to upgrade Javon Solomon. Can we get a creature but is proven in this league to do stuff to make the most of the opportunities he's gotten? And what's that price look like? We got 3 guys right now who are power rushers: Greg Rousseau, Michael Hoyt, and Bradley Chubb, and we still need that speed on the other side or in your speed packages, because there's in the Jim Leonard deviant. That's not the word I'm looking for. In his variants. There are a lot of 2-4-5s. There's a lot of weird lineups that you won't see, and it requires that Nick Benito, that Von Miller, that kind of player that's going to be on the other side, as opposed to just having McDermott's front 4, basically 2 standing up and 2 on the 3-point stance. Yeah. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm not poo-pooing any of the signings on the strength of who they are. It's just what could we have done to maximize the defensive scheme as we know it today.
Right. Speaking of defense, Tommy's got some numbers for us here on the Bills' defensive outputs over the last few years. And I think this is in his defense of why the Bills are fine on offense and need to focus more on defense, and why Sean McDermott had to go.
Like the arrows.
Yeah, it's very creative. He even used a pointer finger in there, which is nice. But basically he's saying the average of all of our losses is 33.5 points per game. He cited 2020, 2021, and 2023. Not sure why he skipped.
He didn't. It's right there. 22 is right there.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. To that, I would say this, because here's why you have to be careful about your perceptions, right? For as much as we're sitting here saying, well, the defense gave up this, gave up that, Brandon Beane got on WGR and bitch smacked Jeremy and Joe with, we're scoring 30 points a game. Like, he just backhanded them with that as if they didn't know anything, right? We're scoring 30 points a game. Right. What's wrong with you?
The last 8 games. That holds it. Just the last 8 games. Yeah.
Like, if you count the last 8 games, right? We need a receiver.
We're not doing that.
We scored 30 points a game. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's your 30 points a game. One time in the last 4 games against the Kansas City Chiefs, who's been the only team other than the Bengals and the Broncos to beat us in the playoffs. And actually, if you count the Bengals game, that's 4 out of the last 5 playoffs. Not the last 5. I'm sorry. 4 out of those 5 games, the Bills scored over 30 points. The only time they scored over 30 points, 13 seconds game, they scored 36. Every other time, 2025, 29 points, 2024, 24 points, 2021, 24 points. Like, the Bengals game, I think we only scored 17 points or something like that. Like, it was bad.
It was bad.
So
was it? Do we get 17 or do we stay at 10?
It might have been 10. Hold on, let me see.
Somewhere
that was the divisional round, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 27-10.
10. Yep.
10 points against the Bengals defense.
Ate us alive.
Not even the number 2 or number 5 or highly ranked Chiefs defense
at
home in the snow.
Tore us to pieces
against the Bengals defense. Oh well, DeMar Hamlin. Okay, all right, fine. You want to give him benefit of the doubt for the burnout? Fine. But every time they've played the Chiefs, they have only scored 30 points or more once on that team. Once. So for as much of, the cry out about, defense seems like it might be the most viable, focus. If you're touting yourself as being fine and not needing a receiver because you scored 30 points a game, and you go on tour on like several shows after that to try and like puff your chest out about it.
Yeah.
And then you don't score 30 points in the playoffs. I think it's a combination of both. Right. But here's where my point trumps the point about defense. How do you, which team wins the game? The team that scores the most what? Points. Well, how do you score points? Traditionally, you need your offense to get past the goal line. You're not always going to have what the Eagles had, scoring 2 defensive touchdowns. You're not always going to have what you had in the Seahawks, scoring a defensive touchdown. Like that doesn't come every season.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to just be there for you. You can have a good defense, but in most cases, having a good defense doesn't really get you that much in the playoffs.
Right.
Unless you have an all-time great defense, like the Seahawks, like the 2000 Ravens, like what the Buccaneers were doing that year they won it with Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't have to be the guy that carried it, put the team on his back. The defense tore the Chiefs apart.
Right.
And to be quite honest, the times in the playoffs and especially in the Super Bowl where the number 1 defense is beating the number 1 offense is very few and far between. Broncos had the number 1 offense in that Super Bowl against the Panthers. Won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, I would say, and I'll look this up. But I would say about 85 to 90% of the time, the team with the number 1 offense wins the game. The 13 seconds game is a prime example. Bills were rated what in defense? Number 1 overall in the playoffs. Number 1 overall for the season with Leslie Frazier still here. Number 1.
Yep.
Went up against the number 1 offense in the league, in the Chiefs.
Yep.
Who won that game?
Yeah,
folks,
Chiefs,
it's a traditional thing. It's not just the Sean McDermott thing.
Right.
Great defenses don't look great in the playoffs. That's just the way it is. Think about this. The number 2 defense in the league in the Broncos dropped. They had 30 dropped on their head by us with no receivers.
Right. Yep.
So don't come to me with this defense matters. You got to shut. You're not going to shut the great quarterbacks down. If the Broncos couldn't stop us from scoring 30, how do we expect our players that are not as good as the players that the Broncos have to stop Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or any of these quarterbacks? We couldn't even stop Bo Nix from scoring 30.
Right.
Just focus on scoring more points. That's what you got to do. That's why we've been on wide receiver.
Like in Jurassic Park. How do you beat the Indominus Rex? We need more teeth.
Thank you.
We need more teeth.
you gotta find a T-Rex.
We're not gonna go ahead and breed a whole bunch of Velociraptor. We're gonna get more teeth.
Get the old school T-Rex in the house and let's go to work.
Let's go to work. He already got that. You knew he wasn't going down. I know we got Nico in the backstage, but yeah, J-Ham. We're never going to talk about the 2000 Ravens defense. Just not going to do it. We're not, because that was a creature mutant. I don't even want to. And I was a Giants fan at the time too, so I'm not doing it. Yeah. Go ahead, get to Nico if you want.
Yeah, Nico, what it is, man?
Hey, what up, brothers? How you guys doing?
Great, bro. How you been?
I'm good, brother. You guys got the case of the Mondays, whatever that means.
I guess.
No, not yet. No? I'm good. I'm good today.
Well, you still got to work tonight.
Nah.
You don't.
Mondays. Well, for the next couple Mondays, I don't work. So yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
I don't have Mondays. I'm excited right now. I'm on Found Money right now. What's good with you, brother? How you doing though?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I for some reason I went through a bad spot and then just I lost you.
Oh, you good?
So
You
that's
good?
why. All right. So, like I said, I don't know what the hell that expression means, but whatever. Um, so just going back on your DJ Moore thing, you asked a question. You said, "What is it that when we're 3rd and 10 and we need that first down, obviously, or we need
Mhm,
that extra point."
mhm,
This is where I mean, and I get you what you're saying. I know you're trying to get your audience to look at that perspective, not just like he's going to get us that first down or he's going to get us that touchdown. But what if that didn't happen? Now we brought in DJ Moore for that, except for that, reason because he wanted, even though Bean didn't say it, we all know that that's why he got DJ Moore because we needed that separator, we needed that difference maker in the playoffs. I know we don't see it as that because we need to see we need proof, right? Like Keith says, we need to see proof. I want to see it.
So
I can't judge it. I don't. I can't judge it until I see it. I want to see what it looks like.
okay. I get where you're going. I think I tend to pay a little bit too much attention to the word choice that people have sometimes. And you said separator, and I immediately went to his numbers don't say he's a separator. He's more of a physical, like out muscle guys and get the
He's a
ball
bully.
and run after the catch type of receiver.
Right.
Which is part of what troubles me in those 3rd and 10 and 4th and 5 situations, because if you're not a separator, just from a traditional sense, being able to separate consistently, being known to separate and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you might be seen as a playmaker, through your physicality and how you tend to, come up big in those situations from time to time. But on a probability stage, your likelihood of being able to separate on 3rd and 10 is not as great as people would like to believe. You know what I'm saying? So like I have to play the numbers game when it comes to that to make sure that I'm as close to what's the most likely thing to happen. Now, that's not to say that he can't do it, but again, all the criticisms this season have been surrounded around what's the most likely outcome of all of these moves. And the numbers, the data says it, the optimism that we have might be a little optimistic for what the reality ends up being at the end of the season.
So you're saying, but you're talking in the way that there are no more moves coming. Is
Well,
that what you're is that what you're like implying when you say DJ Moore is that it's all we got and we didn't get anything in the draft or we didn't do any more signings after this, or are you basing it just on like what's it say be in the moment kind of situation?
I guess it's kind of a combination of both. I'll start with the first point of I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember how you phrased it, but basically, they. Oh, you said that, am I seeing it as there's nothing more that they can do besides DJ Moore?
Yes,
I think in the draft is the only choice they have,
of course.
because if they go out and sign Brandon Cooks, I don't think Brandon Cooks being here is going to inspire a lot of people to a much more or a much higher level of confidence than what already exists, right? So what would have to happen is you'd have to get to the draft and you'd have to have whoever you draft at wide receiver come in and be so good that
Mm-hmm.
makes you forget about the 11 million that you're spending on Josh Palmer and forget about that 2nd-round draft pick that you spent on Keon Coleman and his development. And for where they're drafting, that is an extremely tall task to ask this rookie to come in and just blow the brakes off of everybody in the building, so much so that they say, you know what, we're willing to sit Josh Palmer or get rid of him. We're willing to sit Keon Coleman or get rid of him just to be able to start this rookie day one.
So
Right?
you're pretty much talking a Puka Nakua kind of deal.
Yes, that's what it would have to be in
Yep.
order for that pick to be worth what we think another significant move would equal, right?
Right.
Like that's the only move that would be good enough for us to say, oh, Brandon Beane wasn't done at DJ Moore. He went out and he drafted this guy.
Right.
And now this guy came in and he's a game changer. And now we got two guys. Like you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the only way that it would be worth saying we're not done yet, right? But again, what's the likelihood of us getting a Puka Nacua when the entirety of Brandon Beane's draft of wide receivers has been nothing better than Khalil Shakir?
Yeah. And I think that's something we need to think about too. We got to step back and look at who we have on this team and why they're still here. Josh Palmer, you were hurt, didn't do anything. Why are you still penciled as number 2? That's an indictment on the standing of how this team looks at the talent. If you did nothing for me last year, you don't get to elevate yourself because Keon Coleman descended on the draft chart. You know, if you're hurt and you haven't proven anything, you slide down as far as you need to slide down, even off the team if need be, if we can get better. You know, that $11 million with the whatever the dead cap hit is, that's just gonna have to happen if you're trying to build a contender. Because what they always said was you have to be available. And this team has had a lot of guys on the team for Curtis Samuels for years and missing a ton of games, Kincaid even. And they just are cemented in that position on the field.
Yeah.
And that's the part we need to change. We got to shift that paradigm in order to get better.
Yeah, but in other words, we also say we don't get a Puka in the draft, but we get a decent wide receiver. In this case, what we need to do instead of focusing on the people that we can't be they aren't going to be playing like a Palmer and Shavers is we're going to have to expect. I think, in my opinion, we need Dalton, Knox, and Cook to elevate a little bit more. That way, it'll make DJ Moore's life a little bit more easier, and it's gonna create a pick your poison kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? If those guys, in my opinion, if those guys can elevate a little bit more, we're not talking about Dalton Kincaid becoming a 1,000-yard receiver or 1,500. No, just enough to create that fear factor, just enough to make DJ Moore's maybe have the number 1 guy on DJ Moore, where Dalton can take advantage of the second guy. Knox can take advantage of that, and so can Cook in the passing game. Does that seem a little bit realistic?
So what you're talking about is ball distribution and spacing the defense out. And I get why you think that that's a reason for optimism. But here's what I think about that. I'll put it that way. I think when you consider Dalton Kincaid's usage, he has not been featured in this offense in opportunities where the Bills have not had any receivers on the field that were worth targeting over him. And if the Bills could not funnel targets his way when he was the guy, I don't see a lot of space being opened up for Dalton Kincaid to flourish. And then because Dalton Kincaid is getting all these targets, DJ Moore is going to get all these targets. And because DJ Moore is getting all these targets, the run game is going to open up. Like Brady has had two years now to kind of show his ability to create spacing in the offense. And the best that we've gotten over the last 2 seasons are mesh concepts. That's really the best that we've gotten. Now, we don't know if that's what he wanted to do, or that could have been McDermott's influence because of, him wanting to protect his defense. And Tommy, we'll get to you in a few. Just give me a second. But you have to factor in what's already happened into what's most likely to happen. And the way that Brady has shown he likes to call his offense is he likes to distribute the ball to everybody. What that means is Josh is going to be in a position to drop back, scan the field, and go to the open guy. If you put Josh in that situation again this season, it may be a little bit better, but I still don't think it's going to be enough to get them where they want to go in the playoffs and namely the Super Bowl, because in order, like what it really comes down to in the NFL is respect. right? And when I say respect, your defense needs to respect the players or the way you execute your offense, right? If you want to create spacing, they have to fear somebody. And if your quarterback is the only person they fear, well, then guess what? That allows them to play defense honestly and play tricks on the offensive line that protects your quarterback. That's what they did last year. They said, okay, you don't have anybody we have to focus on out there. We're going to crowd the line of scrimmage. We're going to do our best to stop James Cook. And we're going to put Josh in a position to have to run for his life and make plays with guys at receiver that can't make plays. Now we have one guy that everybody thinks can go out there and make plays. And we think that one guy that can go out there and make plays is going to completely change the game for Shakir, for Kincaid, for everybody else. I'm here to tell you that that's not likely to happen that way, both from a DJ Moore ability standpoint and from a way that Joe Brady has called his offenses the last couple of seasons. It's just not likely.
Okay, got it. No, this sounds good. Sounds good. I'm gonna make my last point, and then I'll just let whoever's waiting in the back say. I know you brought up the whole defense, but it's all about the offense when you score points and stuff like that. Because and I totally get you because like you said, you brought up the number one defense. We won. Casey won that game. We've had top 5 defenses, and we just couldn't get over the hump. How about we just put everything on offense and just outscore them? Because if and I'm hopefully if we have to meet somebody like the Niners or the Rams in the Super Bowl, guess what? It's gonna have to be a shootout with those guys.
Yes, thank you. Yep.
It's gonna be a shootout no matter what. Because they'll find a way. McVay and Shanahan will find a way to destroy, to pick apart your defense for no matter how good it is.
Yep.
So and they have the weapons to do it. That's the crazy part.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get the weapons to go toe to toe with them.
Yep. I think that season when we played the Rams, and then it was kind of compounded with the shootout with Jared Goff, that should have told us right there. Like, defense doesn't matter. People know how to figure out your defense. They know how to create leverage. These teams that are really good, especially in the NFC, have enough weapons to just really do away with anything you're trying to do on defense. Like, we have too many guys for you to try and stop. So go ahead and try, but we're still going to score anyway. If Jared Goff can put up 40 on us, we should be worried about everybody.
Right.
We should like that.
even Purdy.
Yes. Yes, even Purdy, bro. I'm telling you, like, we've seen Purdy have great games and put up, 30, 40 points, in shootout games. We've seen it.
And he's just a game manager.
Thank you. So that's why I arrive at the point of in the regular season, defense is good. You want your defense to be consistent. You want them to, because it's about winning enough games to put yourself in a position to either get the 1 seed or guarantee a playoff spot. After that, if you don't have a Ravens 2000 level defense or a Seahawks level defense from last year, don't focus on that. Focus on getting what the Rams have. Focus on getting what the Lions had. Focus on getting what Green Bay had a couple of seasons ago, where they had 5 guys they could throw at you and just go wherever they wanted. Like, that's the name of the game nowadays.
It's just an abstract abuse of resources. With the Lions and Rams, and I mean, it's like, who are they going to go to? You got Devontae Adams, you got Puka Nacua. Like, why'd you do that? Bills were like, we're good, but they said, you know what, we are good, but we're going to do this too.
No, you're right, bro. You're right. We just I'm with you 100%, man. I mean, we've gone to the defensive side in the draft. We so many resources that we've got edges, and dude, let's just load up on offense and then let's take our chances that way. See what happens.
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it.
All right. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Anytime. Talk to you next time.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Let's get Tommy in here. Tommy, you've been very, very patient. I'm going to let you go ahead and have your conversation with Keys over here, because I ain't got nothing for you, my dude.
Let's just get this going right here. Let's just start with the Big Baller Beane t-shirt. I'm all about that life, man. Oh, what's going on, guys, man? How y'all doing, man?
Same old. Just
Man, my microphone was way over there. Now I should be loud and clear. Now I should be. Look, I've been drinking. I had a couple drinks. Couple drinks already.
Oh, you had a couple drinks. You started without me?
What? I am, dude. I'm ahead of you, man. I'm ahead of you. Look, man. Look. I was saying it for the last 2 years too. The same thing you guys are saying about the offense, right? I was done with the defense. Let's just stock up on offense. Because why? Because I didn't trust McDermott's defense. Not because of maybe what you're kind of going with, Aramis, which is defense really doesn't matter in the playoffs. It's really a regular season thing. You need to score points in the playoffs, and that's what's going to win you championships. I disagree with that to a certain degree. Okay? If you go back and you look at the AFC and the NFC championship games, right? Over the since 2020, let's say 2018, whatever. Okay. In the AFC, right? So 2018, the team that lost 24 points, the team that lost in 2020 was the Bills, 24 points, Kansas City, 24 points, Bengals, 20, Ravens, 10, Buffalo, 29, right? And then this past year at 30, right? With the NFC, 20, 26 points, 17, 7, 31, 23, all under 30. If you look at the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl losses, right? All these teams, New England scored 13 points last Super Bowl, 22 for Kansas City, 22 for San Francisco. Philadelphia, 35. Okay, there's a high-scoring game they lost. Prior to that, Cincinnati, 20, Kansas City, 9, San Francisco, 20, the Rams, 3. So, yeah, defense kind of does matter in some of these games, because a lot of those games, the defense held those teams to under 25 points. Some of them under 15.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Hold on. I know. Let me finish. So here's the deal, and here's my thinking about
Laura.
The offense. All right, offense versus defense. Right. When you have a defensive-minded head coach, whatever coach you hire, right, is going to be offensive-minded or defensive-minded. Right? When you hire a defensive-minded head coach, what do you expect? You expect your defense to play a big part of your team's success. That's just the reality of it. You expect that. I don't expect the offense to be a juggernaut compared to the defense when you have a defensive-minded head coach. That's one. That's my thinking. Two, it's not that I'm saying the defense needs to be this unbelievable the way they were in the regular season. I get it. You're playing the best of the best in the playoffs. However, when you have a defensive-minded head coach and you go into the playoffs, you expect that guy to come up in crucial situations with his defense. Same with the offense. When you have an offensive-minded head coach, you expect your offense to come through in certain situations. Our defense, pretty much year after year through the playoffs, has not come up in crucial situations in these games. There's been plenty of times for the defense to step up, and they have not. Say what you want about last year. We were still up 4 points with 3 minutes to go with a defensive-minded head coach and a defensive scheme that didn't work. They gave up a touchdown. We ultimately lost that game because of it. All right. I get we had turnovers. I get all that stuff, but it should never came down to that. The defense eventually has to do their job, and I expect it when you have a defensive-minded head coach, period. And I expect it this year under Joe Brady being an offensive-minded head coach. If we go into the playoffs and it's the reverse, meaning we have a last drive to go down and score, and our offense shits the bed, right? Like McDermott would do on defense, and we can't get the job done, and we do it again year 2 under Joe Brady. You know what we're all going to be saying? It's Joe Brady, it's Sean McDermott 2.0 for offense. Our offense is failing us in crucial situations like the defense has year after year after year after year. Pretty much. There's only been maybe 2 games where I could say, Aramis, it was a total team loss. Bengals and the Chiefs in 2020. Outside of that, our offense gave us every opportunity to win a game. Okay, we should have been to a Super Bowl at least one time under McDermott. At least one time. You can't tell me we shouldn't have made it to a Super Bowl under the McDermott era, especially 2021.
Can I say something now?
Yeah, go for it. I had to get that on my mind, because if I not, I'd forget what I was going to say.
You'd explode. You'd explode. You would.
I might explode, and then you would never see me again, and be a problem.
And I'd be sad for the rest of my life.
You would be. It'd be a funeral in Buffalo, and it'd be. I'll tell you what. It'd be the only parade going on in Buffalo.
You
we got
said it.
we got Dingus Day coming up. We got Dingus Day coming up,
We do
man.
have Dingus Day. The birthday's coming up too. So but here's the biggest flaw with your point. You stated that because McDermott was the head coach that we needed to focus on defense and the defense wasn't good enough and all that stuff. He's no longer the head coach anymore. This was the year that we should have really went all in on offense because we have an offensive-minded head coach. So
but that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about the past. You brung up the past. You said, and I said in the chat about the defense, and you said it shouldn't matter. We should have scored more points. More points. Our offense should have been more than 30 points. We should have scored. That's what you said. We're not talking about now. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me finish. So to compound that point, and I'll speak to what you just said. If we're bringing the past full circle, right?
Yeah.
You went what? 3 years of playoff appearances in which your defense wasn't good enough, and that culminated to the 13 seconds game, right? You had the Texans, you had the AFC Championship game, then you had the 13 seconds game. At that point in time, Sean McDermott should have been let go. It was proven and clear that when he had the absolute best defense he could possibly have, it wasn't enough. Now, everything that happened past all of that should have been, okay, clearly Sean McDermott cannot do it with the guys that he has. Let's focus on the other side of the ball and make sure that that's good enough because we know that Sean McDermott can coach up defense. We've seen Andy Reid get to a Super Bowl with nobody at wide receiver, which to your other point about Super Bowl losers, those guys lost because they didn't have the weapons. The year that the Chiefs lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who did they have at wide receiver? That's the year after they lost Tyreek Hill. They got to a Super Bowl and they lost. Actually, that might have been 2 years removed from having Tyreek Hill, but they had nobody, right? They even won a Super Bowl with nobody at wide receiver.
The Bengals had offense. They scored 20 points. What are you talking about? You telling me the Bengals didn't have a high-powered offense when they lost to the Rams? They only scored 20 points in that game?
No, their offensive line was horrible in that game.
It doesn't matter. They had a good offense. You can't say me they tell me they didn't have a good offense.
I'm not saying they had a bad. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not saying
what about you can't say but the Chiefs scored 22 against Philly.
Huh?
The Chiefs put up 22 only on Philly, right?
My point is, for all the talk about defenses that, offenses that don't score enough, whatever, we're not talking about other teams. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Right? So if we're going to keep the conversation about the Buffalo Bills, then everything that I'm saying stands true, because if we're going to talk about what they needed to do, it wasn't defense after the 13 seconds game. That should have blown all of the conversations about what we needed on defense out of the water, period. You couldn't do it. You had the number one defense. At that point, shift it up.
Absolutely. You should have fired Sean McDermott after the 13-second game. I agree.
From what you've been saying, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but even past that point, you still should have focused on defense, knowing you had the number one defense.
No. And I said that when I first came on the show. What did I say? For the last 2 or 3 years, I said, fuck it.
How did we end up?
I said load up on offense, because I said it, not because of what you're saying, that defenses don't matter in the playoffs, that you just need a high-powered offense, and that's just the way it goes. Yes, for maybe some teams, but not this fucking team, not under Sean McDermott's team, right? I still believe a defense needs to be had. My point is, I gave up the last 2 years and saying load up on offense because I didn't trust Sean McDermott's defense. If we had a different, let's say we had a different guy in here that was a defense coordinator that you respect. Let's just say hypothetically we had some guy in here that we got that you can go into the playoffs and go, you, Aramis, and go, yeah, you know what? I trust my defense. I think my defense is going to do their job in this game. When was the last time you thought that going into a playoff with Sean McDermott? You get what I'm trying to say? So like I gave that up years ago. Now, if we got like we got now, let's say Jim Leonard is what we're hoping he's to be, right? Let's just say this, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say this defense, year one, we're going into the playoffs. Let's say we make it to the playoffs, and year one, you're already seeing a change. This defense is looking better. We're getting to the quarterback. I think you will go into the playoffs going, yeah, you know what? if this defense plays the way it's been playing, yeah, I believe this defense is going to make a stop. I think this defense can hold a team under 30 points.
Bro, I said
in our offense. I'm just saying, if we get there, but you're telling me there hasn't been teams heading into the playoffs with defenses that have been still good going into the playoffs that their fan base can go, yeah, I think in a crucial moment, our defense is going to do their job. Matter of fact, look at the Cincinnati Bengals when they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, they were aggressive. Yeah. They went after the quarterback. They did exactly what we didn't do. And they got to the Super Bowl.
They had since Joe Burrow's been the quarterback there, right?
Absolutely.
But again, the premise of your coming on the show and giving me the business here is to point out from your comment about how defenses are what help you win championships.
No, I'm saying when you have a defense that you could trust, it definitely does help. I'm with you. I think offenses, especially in this day and age, take center fold. You have to have a good offense. I'm with you. It's very rare that even with the Texans in last year, an elite defense, you have to have some kind of offense. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. But my point being is, if you have zero trust in your defense, if your defense lets you down year after year after year, then something has to change. And hopefully now with this change and McDermott gone and a new system and Jim Leonard and the new defensive coaches that we got in here, maybe that changes when we head into the playoffs the next time. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the offense doesn't, that the defense matters more than the offense. I'm not saying that, but it has to at some point do its part. And our defense has never done their part pretty much throughout the history of Sean McDermott, pretty much. You know what I mean? That's my. I really don't. You think they have?
I think that especially the last two seasons, you have to look at it. If you're really watching the game, I get what you're saying from a standpoint of they didn't get enough stops, right?
Crucial. Crucial stops is a big difference than enough. Crucial when the game matters, Aramis. And also, can you tell me too that doesn't the coaching matter too? Doesn't the coach? Did you not see Sean McDermott change during these games? Get tight and change and get a little bit passive on defense, right? I'm just saying. But Aramis, that is part of the point.
Here's where I'm going with this. If you're talking about what the defense did, there was a point at the end of the Broncos game where the Bills had the ball and had an opportunity to go ahead and score a touchdown and win that game, right? The ball was in our hands at the end of the game, right? And because we threw an interception, we didn't get the touchdown. Interception, right?
Right. Thank you for the quotation.
Yeah. But the only reason that pass happens is because you don't have any other options. So you go to your best option.
I'm with you.
5'10" speedy, shifty receiver, and you throw a deep pass to him with a defender draped over his back. But the year before that, same deal. The year before that, 4th and 5. You're in the AFC Championship game. You need a play. You're throwing a Hail Mary pass. Why? Because you don't have anywhere else to go. The Bills ended up getting back on the field and getting a stop to give the Bills the ball back again and couldn't do anything with it. Then when the defense goes back on the field and has to stop the Chiefs from getting a first down, then it's, this defense is terrible, blah, blah, blah. They gave their offense 2 chances to score a go-ahead touchdown at the end of that game. So we can have a what's the word I'm looking for? We can have a debate about the meaning of crucial moments, whatever. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the Bills had 3 chances in the last 2 years to score a go-ahead touchdown to then put the ball in their defense's court to say, okay, now go make a stop, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't score.
Right. But I'm with you, and I'm not saying that the offense shouldn't have been better or not even better, just a playmaker that they choose to avoid over the last few years. I'm with you on that 100%. However, I still stick with my side that says, look, when you have a head coach that specializes in one side of the ball, you expect that side of the ball to come up clutch, and I don't feel they have. You may think so. I don't. I'm with you on the offense part, but I still feel like I expect that from our head coach. And that's the reason I feel that's part of the reason why he's fired, because that defense wasn't 9 seasons in. It was a failure. And if nobody could see that, I don't know what to tell you. Our offense, has it been great? No, I'm 100% with you. Could it have been better? Sure. And I'm hoping it does. But how it doesn't take the fact away that when you have a head coach that specializes on one side of the ball and that side of the ball lets you down more than the offense, then yeah, then there's a problem. That's my point. That's it. I wish things were different, but we are here where we're at. You know what I mean? We're at where we are right now with a new head coach and a new coaching staff. And I'm hoping, Aramis, that things change, especially on that side of the ball. Because I think, honestly, Aramis, we are a receiver away, which I believe DJ Moore will help, from maybe scoring 6 more points against Denver and winning that game.
When the Chiefs won against the Eagles in 2023, let's see, their leading receiver was Travis Kelce. Did they have
who's a Hall of Famer, by the way? We don't have that kind
100%. 100%. We haven't had one in a very, very long time. Okay. In the fourth quarter of that game, the Chiefs held the Eagles to 8 points.
Okay.
Now, the reason I'm bringing up this game specifically is that was a contribution from the other side of the ball for an offensive-minded head coach. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that really speaks to your point about, I get what you're saying. If you have a defensive-minded guy, you expect your team to reflect the strongest on that side of the ball. But if you look at the teams that the Chiefs have had after they let Tyreek Hill go, it's been all defense up until this past season, right? And
okay, yeah, with one of the better DCs in the league, correct?
That's fine, but
okay.
Again, that's not that. So that part would be on your boy Beane, because if you're really doing your job as a GM, you got to have a conversation with Sean. Hey, we got to get a better.
He should have. Absolutely. But let me ask you this: if you did have that conversation, you think Sean McDermott would have really brought in a different defensive coordinator to change the scheme? Do you really believe McDermott would have allowed that? Well, McDermott wouldn't even allow his defensive coordinators to actually coordinate. He would take over.
Obviously, we now know that Brandon Beane had more pull than Sean McDermott did. So why?
But not about the coaching staff. I don't think any GM has pull on coaching staff. I've never heard that.
Of course they do.
I've never heard that. Not on a head coach that's been there 9 years. He's not going to just go out, walk up to him and go, now we're going to change your scheme. Sean McDermott was not that type of guy. He was not going to change his scheme.
Go see Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones is a different type of owner. He's a very different kind of owner. You think Jerry Jones fired his head coach who won two Super Bowls, Aramis?
Okay.
Come on now. Anyways, Keys.
Poke
I'm sorry, brother.
That boy, I mean,
my dog Keys. I feel bad. I love Keys. I know when Keys, I can see his body language. He's like, get this motherfucker out.
Do you want to weigh in on this?
I saw y'all.
Yeah, I figured that.
Hey, that's why I don't call in much, because I don't want to feel like I'm running y'all or running over y'all. I apologize. I'm a talker, man. Man, this is, hey guys, by the way, real quick, this is what me and Aramis be doing on the phone, and it goes on for like 2 hours, and then we finally just say,
he calls me and he goes, I want to fight. It's like straight like that,
dude. I'm like, I want to see a slap box.
Yeah, he calls me up and I want to fight, and I'm driving.
Aramis goes, okay.
I worked the whole day. I'm on my way home. I'm tired.
Why are we fighting?
No, come on, let's do it. Straight like that. Come on, let's do it.
Let's rock and roll.
I'll never put my guns away. Never.
Hey, I appreciate y'all having me, man. And y'all welcome anytime. Hey, peace out, Keys. I'll talk to you, big dog.
Yeah. All right.
Peace.
Mafia Sports Report. I think Monday. No
today
doubt.
and what's the day? Today's Monday.
Monday,
so Monday and Fridays. Yep.
He'll be on. Was it 9 to 11?
I don't know anymore. It's either 9 or 10, because I know he does after hours or after dark, and then Friday I think is whatever. But yeah, it's 9. Matter of fact, make his bell ring a ling a ling too. So when he pushes the button, you get the button, and then we give him thumbs.
Roy says sounds like Aramis needs to change his number.
But no, okay. So Tabby's confirmed 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock tonight.
Yes. Check him out.
I knew, but I remember one time he went earlier because I was ready for 10 and I already had an hour in there. And when I turned it on, it was going. I'm like, why are they going off? Let me get my comments in. But no, you know, while y'all were talking, I was thinking, I'm sitting here like, you know, the thing about McDermott versus Beane versus the world versus everything and Jesus and everything else is, why is McDermott, why was he so soft defensively all the time? Why was everything bail? Why was everything what it was? And I asked myself, is it because that's exactly what he wanted, or is it because he really had no faith in his players? So if he had no faith in his players, that means that he's not the only one picking all the players. And that's the thing that really gave me pause. This is not like I said, when we fired McDermott, I didn't want to do let's put a petition out to get McDermott back. That's not what we're doing, but it makes you think. Now we have to see, because by a lot of people's logic, not Tommy, not nothing because of that call, but by a lot of people's logic is McDermott's gone, ding dong, the witch is dead. Everything changes now. It's all brand new. We're good. But we've seen DeMar Hamlin be re-signed. We've seen Connor McGovern come back. We've seen, you know, players extended, restructured, blah, 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 blah. And it's like the same thing. Why is that? There's only one constant. And I'm not saying it's just him, but there's only one person here at this point in time that people blamed and didn't blame the divisiveness of McDermott versus Beane. Come one, come all, get your ticket. It's a pay-per-view. One of them's still here, but the show hasn't changed. He just got a guy now that aligns with him, a guy that they go into a room together with different opinions, but they come out on one accord, which means by virtue, Joe Brady wanted DeMar Hamlin. Joe Brady wanted, you know, DJ Moore. Joe Brady wanted. So if it don't work, it ain't just Beane. It's Joe Brady too. So we're not going to go ahead and blame one person versus the other, because collectively it just didn't work. Does it make Sean McDermott a bad coach? No. It means him and Beane, philosophically and personality-wise, were oil and water. They just couldn't be on one accord. You know, and Chancellor said head coach getting the players he wants. I don't really agree with that, because if you look at what Beane said today, or when was it? The press conference was today, right? Mm-hmm. He said, well, we wanted speed. We wanted edge. Who said they wanted speed for years before? Why isn't we never got speed when the head coach said I want speed? Was he just lying to us every year? I want speed. Why would he lie? Why say that? But now he's gone. Now we're going to start bringing in. Okay, Garner Johnson was never a McDermott guy. Let's just get that out the way first. That was never going to happen under McDermott.
Yep.
So we know that. But there's a lot of things that when we pull back the layers and you hear from people inside the building, outside the building, however you feel about McDermott, whether you like him, whether you hate him, I, for one, will tell you, I was ready for him to go too. But not because he stunk, but because I want to see what else we could do. And that flew in the face of the people that said, well, you could go back to the drought. I'm in a drought. We didn't see a Super Bowl in, I was what, 9 last time we had a Super Bowl? 10? I'm in a drought. I'm 42 in next month. It's 30 years.
Yep.
What difference does it make? Super Bowl, don't play in February. Don't care. We don't get to hoist the trophy. And I'm not going to hold fast to, at least we're in the playoffs. Then the Chiefs in the playoffs, and we lose to them. Because, like, you already know that. Even if we won, they'd be like, oh, snap, we beat them. It wasn't like we deserved it. Right. We said, oh, shoot, we beat the Chiefs. And I don't want to feel like that. And I want, the 1 year they're supposed to go to the Super Bowl. Why? Because the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Ravens, they weren't all. I don't want to hear that. To beat a man, you got to beat the man. And I want to beat the man. And okay, fine. The Chiefs, the Ravens, Bengals weren't the best 7 in the AFC this year. But what would they have said had we won the Super Bowl this year? They ain't play nobody.
Right. Big old asterisk.
That would have been the biggest event. Well, they ain't play nobody. It took the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bengals to not play. It took them to not make it. It took injuries. It took this. It took that. I don't want that. I want to be the man by beating the man. Big shocker. We haven't had a Super Bowl party in my house since the last time the Bills went when I was 6.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. And Wesley, yeah, no, and that's the thing. This is not so much a Beane versus, like I said, McDermott versus Beane versus whatever. It's just more so, let's just peel back the layers and really look at this thing.
Yep.
Because maybe McDermott was good, maybe Beane was good, maybe they both are good, independent of each other. But we will never know what McDermott was unless he decides to come back as a head coach. If somebody has him in 27,
I think where we are is more closely related to something that Tommy said. He kind of spoke to an expectation that people have on a certain person because of their expertise, right? And when you look at the reason that they fired Sean McDermott, okay, you get him out of here because you feel his expertise or lack thereof was part of what created this playoff hump that you couldn't get over. Okay. So now you empower and promote the one guy who has the expertise that you feel has been a success to the team and has contributed in a positive way. And come to find out, all the moves that you've made this season, except one, has been consistent with all of the moves that you've made while Sean McDermott was here. So the question becomes, well, wait a second. This guy's expertise is players, like acquiring talent. We should have seen something different in the expertise when the game became his to play instead of Sean McDermott's to play, right? And again, as I've stated on the show, I was wrong when I thought that Sean McDermott was heavily influencing the players that we drafted. I think what we've seen now is Brandon Beane has a strategy of cap management, of player personnel, and guys that he wanted to build up in that locker room as the foundational and fundamental culture of the building. And he also knows what the owner likes to see and what the owner wants to feel when he walks in the locker room too. And he believes that he's building all of that. The issue is there's some sacrifice going on to get all of that stuff into the building and having enough talent to actually achieve the goal of the reason why you have the job in the first place. Like, you don't get the GM job to build a great culture and find, good camaraderie guys. Like, that's not why you have the job. So with that position comes the expectation of you've got to find the best available guys. You've got to stop playing this game of, well, we don't want to, overthink ourselves, or we don't want to overcommit, or we don't want to overdo this. Bruh, you moved up 15 spots for a defensive tackle that barely played last season. And you tell us you're aggressive. You tell us you need to be held back.
Show me.
Right.
I want to see it.
Listen, no. At this point, good. For those people that be holding them back, do it more. Because obviously they're not doing it enough. You know what I'm saying? You moved up for Kyer Elam. You moved up for an injury-prone Dalton Kincaid. You moved up for a TJ Sanders that barely played. And that's just in the last 3 seasons alone.
Yeah.
4, because I didn't include Maxwell Harrison. But, 5. It would have to be because I didn't include Keon Coleman either. But,
keep going.
yeah. But I think that's what it comes down to is just the expectation that because you're the GM and you now run the show, it's going to be more about talent than it is anything else. And it hasn't been that.
Right.
Really quick. Well, I guess maybe not really quick. You got a
really
few
quick.
Extra minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't even get to what we were going to talk about. I was excited about it. I want to touch on what. Go do your thing.
No.
Do your thing because I got to
go.
start. So you do your thing.
You got what?
I got to start. So you do your thing.
Go ahead.
I'm not old. I'm old, so I'm going to forget. Let's see. Albert was talking to somebody else. I think it was Roy who earlier said he wanted Conception really bad. Albert said that you guys know Conception has major drop issues. That's a no-go for Rent. I don't think he has drop issues. I think he's another case of the drops that he has looks bad. Because I if you look at what he did and we'll compare him against, I just do Jamar Chase in college. And we know, I'm not saying Conception is Jamar Chase at all, but what I'm saying is if you look at somebody that is known as the best wide receiver in the game, top 2, Justin Jefferson or whichever gets a better quarterback at the time, I think you'll notice that conception on average of 100 targets a season, he's had 19 drops for his whole college career. So that's a number, I think it's like 9.3%, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase in 2 years had about 159 targets. So it's, what is that, 75 targets a season? 76, 77.
Yep.
And he averaged, I think he was his career number was like 7.9% drop rate. So you're talking about 1.3. I'll take that. I'll take somebody. Now, like I said, the drops that he has might be bad drops, but you can clean that up. Joe Brady had the doorway thing where him and Jamar Chase right through that doorway, catching the ball, how he worked on this, worked on whatever it was. If you remember when Jamar Chase came to the NFL, his first preseason, I said, like, yo, this dude is trash. He dropped everything in the preseason. And then he went on and he caught everything. And now you're looking at a guy who's making $42 million a season.
Right.
That's a hell of a problem to have. A wide receiver that you work with, because you're a coach, right? Like Tommy always says. Tommy, he's still here, I'm sure. So he always says it's on the coaches. I've always said auxiliary staff is in charge of your talent evolution. We haven't seen any wide receivers come to Buffalo and get better. Khalil Shakir, maybe. But I don't say that because they ain't asked him to do nothing.
Right.
He's way better than what they're asking him to do. So they didn't even make him better. He's just like, I'm good because
he's
all they want me to do.
So good he looks average when they're asking him to do stuff that he doesn't really need to be doing.
Right. And then you go across the pond to where Tommy lives. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Just chilling.
Pretty much doing the same stuff.
Yep.
But his numbers pop because they ask him to actually run that way and not just this way and not that way.
Yep.
See the difference? I mean, maybe Shakir isn't that guy, but shouldn't we figure that out before we give him 17 mil?
Thank you. Because it really, that's all of the signings of these new wave of core guys that we have now is all just locker room fit. He's such a great locker room fit. We want to be a team that pays their draft picks and keeps guys in house. So they make these moves. Mm-hmm. It looks good for the brand. It looks good for their marketing because, hey, we drafted these players and they worked their butts off and they got paid. Listen, let me be clear when I say this. Players on other teams don't give a damn how many players you paid that you drafted.
Right.
They couldn't care less if you had a team full of mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they get a chance to come and win and they get the dollar amount they're looking for, that's it. You know who cares about whether or not a team pays the players they draft? Us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't just mean you and me on this show. I mean fans. Yep. Fans are the only people who really care about that stuff. And at the end of the day, the Bills are capitalizing on that. Mm-hmm. Because what does it say about your job as a GM? What does it say about your franchise? What does it say about your brand if, man, we draft these guys and because they work their butts off, they get rewarded? Everybody loves to see that here, especially. Oh, that guy worked his butt off and he got paid. Oh, yeah, that's the American dream. He wasn't even the best at his position.
Yeah.
It was like, look at the numbers he put up. How does he deserve that contract from what he did? You know what I'm saying? So I think so much of what creates the disconnect between us on this show and those fans who say, this show is nothing but negative is the marketing. It is exactly like what we say does not line up with what the Buffalo Bills say, so it can't be the right. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, speaking of draft picks,
what you got?
The title of this episode is three sleepers that fit the future of the franchise. And I stayed up pretty late trying to find these guys. So damn it, you're all gonna listen. No, I'm kidding. But I in my mind, and I think we mentioned this before, the the position that these rookies are in, and we mentioned this when we were talking to Nico, the position that these rookies are going to be in coming into the building is there are no open spots for competition.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You said on Friday, like, these guys that come in, they're competing for backup spots.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reality of their existence here. They're competing for a spot right behind the starter. And then when that guy gets hurt, or if that guy needs a blow or something like that, then
it was legit.
Yeah.
It was legit.
Yeah. If that guy needs to take a down off,
Mm-hmm.
then the rookie can get in and show what he can do, right? But we have not seen to this point a rookie earn their way into more production on the field. We haven't seen it. We didn't see it with Shakir. We didn't see it with any of the guys that came in and started immediately. Trey White, Deion Dawkins, they were given the job right away. Christian Benford was given the job right away because Khair Elam was so terrible at his job. And Stephon Diggs hated his guts, apparently.
Yeah, he did.
Because he kept grabbing him in practice, right? So what's my point? Well, my point is, like I said, you could draft Mekhi Lemon could fall to you at 26, and you draft him. Who's he starting in front of? He's not getting in front of $11 million. He might beat Keon Coleman out for a spot.
And that's why they wouldn't draft him.
Right.
It would drive me nuts.
Right. Again, when we have to include the politics of these moves, because the Bills are playing the politics of these moves. That's why they come with the marketing. Marketing is just another political tactic. It's a narrative that they create so you can believe about them what they want you to believe about them. And they carry that into the draft. We want guys to come in and earn their spots.
Yeah.
So they force these rookies to come in and compete for backup spots. And then what happens is, next season, after you get rid of all your one-year deal guys, now those rookies have a chance to come in and compete. But what's going to happen? What's going to happen next year is the guys that they liked from this year that they want to get into a starting spot, they'll pencil that guy in, and they'll go and sign an aging, past his prime, player at that position to come in and compete. And that older guy is going to lose to the younger, new, juicy guy that you got in the draft from last season. That's what they did with Levi Wallace.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they did with Levi Wallace. For 4 years straight, they kept bringing in old dudes that had no business competing with them to compete with them. And guess who won the job every year? Right? So, again, before I keep going on this tangent, here's your day 3 sleepers.
Hey, talk to them slowly now.
Number 1 on my list, and I tried to keep this to positions of need on the Bills, right? But first guy on my list, I promise you, when I saw this guy, I was just like, my eyebrows were stuck up. I was just like, how is this guy a day 3 pick?
That's coffee.
Quite possibly.
Right.
Yeah. Or crack, but I'm too fat. There's no way I would be this fat on crack. So first guy on my list is Arnez Cooper out of Miami. All right. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh, look what he ran in the 40, he ran a 5.4. Yes. Okay, fine. But Osiris Torrance ain't the fastest guy either. And look at how he's developed and look at what he's become as a second-round pick here. Now, Arnez is set to be a day 3 pick. People are projecting him to be taken in the 6th round for the talent level that he has. And when he's playing at his best, he's a guy that plays really well within the flow of his teammates, I guess, is probably the best way that I could put it. Like he's sound from the standpoint of helping his center, transitioning to helping his tackle, and like you don't see him get beat individually that much. You get what I'm saying? And it, like, I'll put it like this. The biggest thing that I saw from Arnez Cooper is when he locks in on you, his back is not getting straightened because he's getting bull rushed into it. Like, he still stays hunched over, knees bent, locked into position on you, and you get some push, fine, but you ain't getting nowhere after he gets his hands on you. And that doesn't mean that he's never been beat. because I'm not going to sit here and say like he should be picked in the first round or anything like that. What I'm saying is he was a right guard on the best offense in college football. That's got to mean something. I say it again, he's a right guard on the best offense in football. So for me, if I could get this guy in the 6th round and have him come in and compete at that left guard spot, even if he doesn't get it, I'll be looking at next season as, okay, this should be a guy that we can count on. He's 6'6", 334 pounds. I mean, you basically drafting Deion Walker on the offensive line, basically. Mm-hmm. How could you not want this guy? And granted, he's not as nimble as Deion Walker, but he, and again, in this system, he wouldn't have to be a puller. So his quickness wouldn't be an issue either. If he's going to play with us, he's going to be a zone blocker. He can do that. And he's very, very effective in the run game. So I'll take him. Number 2 for me, some of you might not agree with this. And I'm very well, first and foremost, what do you think about Cooper? Did you have you looked at
I haven't
Cooper
gotten guards and O-line is like last because I've been so stuck on linebackers, edges, wide receivers, everything everybody's talking about, defensive backs.
Well, I definitely want to get your thoughts on this next guy here. So my next day 3 pick is Max Llewellyn. 6'6", 258 pounds, the edge out of Iowa. At his best, looks like a Max Crosby would playing outside linebacker in an odd front. Just from the build, the quickness, he's got great hands. He's got a lethal spin move, really, really good burst off the line. He needs to get a lot better against the run, but with NFL coaching, he could absolutely be a steal in the 5th round. 5th round. I think Max Crosby was a 4th rounder, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not saying this guy is Max Crosby, but I mean, for a guy with that level of athleticism, especially like that spin move is like Dwight Freeney-esque. Mm-hmm. It's incredible, bro. Him and the other guy, the other guy that plays edge in that, like they both got it. But Llewellyn looks a little bit more athletic and faster when he does his. He looks like he's not losing anything on his spin move. So I would love to see the Bills take an opportunity on a guy like that. And obviously the reason you do that is Greg Rousseau's contract next season gives you no dead cap hit, which means if you wanted to get rid of him, you absolutely could, and it wouldn't cost you anything. You can trade him. You can get some picks. You can just cut him outright to free up some cap space, whatever you need to do. I think next season you only got 40 guys on the cap anyway. I think it's something like 44 guys, that'll be under contract next season. So definitely a guy that I would want in the building to develop to move into that edge position. Last on my list, number 3. Have you covered corners at all?
I've gotten relatively deep. Where were you at?
So Toriano Pride Jr. 5'10", 185 pounds, the cornerback out of Missouri. He's a day 3 pick. He's a scrappy and rugged football type with 5-star recruit physical ability. He ran a 4.32 40. Has great instincts in the run and pass, would be a great fit here as a nickel corner with time to develop behind Alford. Watching this dude on tape, like he looks like a dog. He you know who he reminds me? He reminds me of Pac-Man Jones. Mm-hmm. That's really who he reminds me of. Nose for the ball, like knows how to play the quarterback, knows how to read the quarterback's eyes, but not just the eyes. He can read the eyes and the play as he's playing it. I've seen him make some incredible plays. Obviously the knock on him is his size, you know what I mean? Being 5'10", short arms, not going to be able to play outside much. I remember the days when 5'10" guys could play outside, but not anymore.
Hey,
so
yeah, I mean, back in the day, he used to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Toriano Pride, he is probably an ideal fit for the defense as I see Jim Leonard running it. I see him being more of an outside guy though.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He's like you said, he's quick twitch. He is pretty physical. Not the biggest guy in the world, but that's okay because he doesn't play like he's too small.
Yep.
I would like him later on because you can learn, especially if Dorian Strong doesn't come back. You can learn to be the next man up in any scheme. I don't think I have his. I'm like scrolling through my notes to see if I have his stats here, but I can easily look them up. But he's more of a man match guy like Jim Leonard needs boundary. Field, quick to close. You know, he's a in your pocket kind of guy.
Yep.
Back pedal was smooth. I was actually impressed with his back pedal at the combine. That's where he stuck out with me. So I watched him, and a lot of them came out of the, they came out high, they came out sloppy, loose, whatever the case. He was pretty tight and pretty straight line back. Good body control. What else do I have for him? You know, he triggers downhill, so he's definitely a guy that will help out in the run defense. He's good in space. He trusts his feet. He trusts his recovery speed. Trusts what he sees and how to break it down. Match quarter, he's an A. I give him an A as a match quarter cornerback. And so yeah, he's more of a zone guy, which is fine because Jim Leonard runs a lot of zone as well, a lot of disguise zone. But yeah, he's definitely an elite fit. I'm not saying he's an elite player, elite fit for what they're asking him to do.
Yep. I got an honorable mention.
What you got?
What do you think about Deni Dennis Sutton, Penn State?
Okay.
6'6", 253 edge. He's a mid-day 2 pick.
This is my thing with I'm trying to get over my Penn State thing. After I learned that Penn State purposefully gets off the line slow, I was like, okay. And that explains why Abdul Carter, why other guys before him were slow at Penn State, but then Jason Owe. And then you go to the pros and they're like the first one off the line. Like, okay.
Wait, what was the reason?
They were taught to come off slow and read. They weren't supposed to attack. Yeah, so they were a read defensive line, which angered me. And I was like, why is everybody so slow? Then I heard I hate it, but I understand it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for him, I see a guy who he kind of rushes like Rousseau to me. He reminds me of kind of a Rousseau kind of dude in terms of,
except more athletic. Like he's got more quick twitch to him.
He's got some quick twitch to him, but he doesn't have the moves that I want out of my guy Cassius Howell.
Yeah.
That's Laura asked earlier, who do you guys want in round one? Cassius Howell is who I would take in a heartbeat at 26. But Deni, he's a 6'6", 262 or 270, somewhere in there, right?
Who?
Your guy.
Yeah, he's 6'6", 253.
250. Okay. Yeah, he plays like a much bigger man. He plays like he's a power reliant guy.
Yep.
Has a twitch to hop over I call it the Euro step now because that's what they're doing. Hop from the C to the B and get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
I would like to see him come with some more counter moves. I would like to see him come with a little more pop off the edge on the bend, which he's not a bendy guy. And I know from Rousseau, I'm not going to ask for that anymore. If you got it, you got it. You don't, you don't.
That's why I looked at him. I'm like, he looks like a slightly better Rousseau. Though.
Yeah.
Like, I think he would work.
I mean, he would work. He would work, depending on where you're going to get him. Especially if it's would you say
mid-day 2 picks? So between
fourth?
3 and
third, fourth. I mean, in our situation, the third is a little too steep for him. But I mean, he's not a bad player.
Day 2 is what? 4?
Second through 4.
2nd through 4. Okay, yeah.
No, day 2 is 2 and 3. I'm sorry. So
okay, so
day 3 is 4 through 7.
Third round.
Yep. So. I mean, any team that has draft picks, it would be a decent get. Roy, we know you like Conception. We know. I just like, I mean, if Howell slid to 26, first I'd ask myself, why? Are we really worried about 31-inch arms? Have you guys not seen how bad Ruben Beane was? Abysmal. Just throw his whole pro day in the trash, Ruben Beane. Try again. But
keep going, bro. I'm with you. I'm working with you.
If I could just get like 5 more teams say this dude sucks,
those arms can't get any shorter. It's unbelievable.
He's just walking around like this all the time. That's why he benches like this. He in it. But all jokes aside, no, Cassius Howell, if you watch him play, the burst, the bend, the speed, the counters, the everything that you would want to offset what Rousseau is not, what Bradley Chubb is not, what Michael Hoyt is not, is in that guy right there out of Texas A&M. I sound like a lot like Mel Kiper there, but don't say I suck because we know Mel Kiper and his draft history.
Yep. Legendary.
Now, this is where I fall apart. I am not going to kill somebody if the Bills did take Avion Terrell. I would be upset. I'd be upset.
Why?
Because he's a cornerback.
Okay.
But in a star role, which is that nickel, do everything, drop back, read and react, blitz, Avion Terrell is exactly what I was talking about for about an hour of this show in terms of iron sharpen iron.
Right.
Alfred, you're on notice. We draft this guy, you're on notice because this guy is a start right away.
He'll probably be there at 26 too.
Yeah, and that's who Mel Kiper had going to Buffalo. I mean, he'll start right away.
What else do they, I'm glad you brought that up. It's very interesting because I don't think the Bills have much depth at nickel. No, they don't. No. So on the depth chart right now, they have D. Alford and Takori Couch.
Yeah.
Ooh, we might have just found our first round pick.
Could have been. It could be. And I'm telling you, if you watch Clemson tape, Avion Terrell is not Concepcion. Sorry, Roy. Yeah. He's not Howell. Sorry, Keys. But he's a hell of a player. Yeah. And he's a player that would sit here and be like, another knock on Beane. And this is not even earned this time. But why'd you give D. Alford all this money and you got that guy who is better, cheaper, younger?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to know he's there at 26 is tough. But if they took him, I would have to sit on it for a while. But just remember this date, March 30th, 2026. I sat here and told you, I won't throw the whole team in the garbage if they drafted him. Santa said Jacob Rodriguez and my boy Kyle Lewis. Kyle Lewis to me is weird. He's like a safety, but they make him play line. He's 5'10", 5'11", 220 at linebacker. He's like a great safety. I can see him playing like Bishop.
You know who I like, bro?
Who's that?
Josiah Trotter. I like the way he takes on blocks, bro.
He's that. Yeah, he's the guy. If you don't like Dorian Williams, that's who you take. And that's the second round draft pick. I've been telling you guys, it messed my whole draft up because of that second round pick. I didn't even care about the first round pick that much because I'm like, it's a reach. Whoever's going to be, it's going to be something that's not going to stick out like a sore thumb. But that second round draft pick, yeah, we don't have one. Damn it. So, you can
package one of those 5th round picks and move up.
You could. And you could move back in the first round and get whoever you want. Jacob Rodriguez reminds Derek of Manti Te'o. Damn. But cool. honestly, he's not wrong.
Really?
He's not wrong, honestly. Manti Te'o in college was a bad boy.
That's true.
He was a bad boy. True. I mean, when you're talking about a Heisman Trophy finalist as a linebacker, you a bad boy. And I mean, yeah, they got wiped off the face of the planet with what was it, Alabama that year or whoever. They shouldn't even be on the international championship against that. I mean, it was ugly. But Te'o himself, yeah, he was a bad sucker right there. And so Jacob Rodriguez, Derek, you know what? I withdraw that laughter. You wanted something. I like that. Right. But no, I Cassius Howell, Avion Terrell, who else did I have? I had a couple guys in terms of defense in the first round. If you wanted to talk later round, I got that too. But we're looking at Zion Young, an edge out of Missouri. He is 6'6", 262. He has arm length measuring out at 34 1/8, which is pretty dang good. Wingspan 82 inches, which is pretty dang good. My arms are longer though, but but no, he ran a 4.
Do you want to do a quick mock draft?
I can. It's gonna be horrible, but let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, here we go. This is 40 Keys' first mock draft for the 2026 offseason. Here we go. Round 1, pick 26. Who you getting?
Oh, we can take who we want?
Take whoever you want, bro.
Oh, sweet. I like the way this looks. 26. I am taking out of the university. Agricultural mechanical. Texas. Cassius Howell. I am taking Cassius Howell.
He gave him the excellent 26. Fingers and everything. Cassius Howell. Yeah. Excellent. All right, Cassius Howell, first round. All right, next pick is round 3, pick 91. Who you got?
Oh, we got.
You can trade too if you want. If you want, like if you need to trade up or trade back or whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna keep the third. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna stay fairly reasonable here. I took Howell, and at 91, I am going to go with.
I don't think we have a drum roll. Somebody make a drum roll. Uh-oh, Roy does not like your picks.
I know he doesn't. He said, boo! I am going to take.
Oh.
Oh, we got it. Give me.
That was probably really loud. I apologize.
Give me Dante Corleone, 91.
Ooh. Okay. I'm with that. All right. Round 4. Pick 126.
126. All right. Who's going to be in that area, in that range? Give me 120. This is weird to do when you can pick out anybody you want. I'm trying to be realistic here because I'm taking Ruben Beane here.
I'm taking Ruben Beane.
I'm taking Beane right here. Nobody can do anything about it either. Give me Jacoby Lane from USC, wide receiver.
Jacoby Lane. Okay, got that on the list. Round 5 from the Bears, pick 165.
165. Who is going to be there at 165? I like the name Ephesians Price. Like, I'm not taking him, but it's a great name.
Tempting.
It's a great name, but
yeah,
he's not
more
a great
of a
player.
zone guy. Yeah.
You said 156?
165.
165. This man's name is Diego Pounds. Let's do it. No.
Just off the last
Just
name.
off the strength of the name is amazing. God. Yo, this is harder than you think. Okay, I got a wide receiver, I got an edge, and I got a nose tackle.
Derek is saying Chris Bell if he there. Doubt it though.
Honestly, yes, we'll do that. We'll do Chris Bell. And this is fourth round, right? Fourth round?
For 5th round. This is the 5th round. Pick 165.
Ain't no way in hell, but yeah, let's do it.
You say ain't no hell. Okay, all right.
Yeah, ain't no way in hell, but let's do it.
Due to the injury, everybody overlooks Chris Bell. They don't want to take a chance because there was a red flag on his.
Bro, if we got Chris Bell, I would sit smiling through Joshua Palmer for a season. I would sit happy as heck. I would care if White Steve was to start number 2. I am ready for Chris Bell in year number 2. Oh, Roy, you know what? This is what we'll do. This is what we'll do real fast. Roy is right because this is tough. I'm gonna pull up a mock simulator real quick. That way.
So it's a little more realistic.
Yeah, because I was getting away scot-free with that. That was
Hold
great.
on here. What's the website? We'll put it up on the.
Let's do. Well, can you do PFF for free?
I
don't know. You might be able to try PFF.
Yeah, you can sign in. I'm wrong keyboard. Sorry.
Right now, you know I go through all the time.
Okay. And can you sign in or you don't?
I can try.
Yeah.
Do I know my password? We're gonna find out.
Whoops.
Ah!
Oh!
Like,
already there.
Password? Yep. Achilles heel.
We've done it. All right. Go for it. And then as soon as you get there, I'll pull it up.
All right, this goes here. This goes here. Here. And then we'll take that down. All right.
Good?
Yep.
All right. Let's pull this up here. And let's get that off. We're going to...
Nah, Derek, I liked them better in the 5th, but yeah.
Share the screen.
I really liked them in the 5th.
Wow. All right. Can all y'all see that okay? I hope that's big enough. That's what she said.
So we'll go here so I can operate it.
Yep.
We'll select the good old Buffalo Bills. And that's the settings. We'll keep it on right there just to get it going. Get it cracking.
Start the draft. Here we go.
Okay.
Woo. Oh, your boy is there. You already know. You're all right.
Oh, okay.
Just
For this. Do you guys? Let's see. I can't minimize that.
Minimize what?
I'm gonna pull up, not minimize, but I was gonna pull it so I can see what the crowd has to say about
I can
things.
pull this down.
Does that still show it to them the right size?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So we could go. We can go Cassius Howe. We could go Caden Proctor, which I'm okay with. Caden McDonald, I'm okay with. TJ Parker. And Haneker.
Denzel Boston.
No. Caleb Banks, no. Peter Woods, no. Colton Hood, great
Sam
cornerback.
Says McDonald all day. Mafia says Caden McDonald.
I'm selling out for the hold. I'm selling out for the hold. Okay, we'll do this then. Do you guys want TJ Parker?
ATL says Lawson.
Oh, he's later. Yeah, Lawson's later though. Do you guys want?
Roy's asking, is Concepcion still available?
No, he's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, Concepcion's gone.
Where did he go?
Wait, did he go somewhere?
Ooh, did he?
Hold on a second. Go here, wide receiver. Denzel, but no, he's still there.
Oh,
yeah, he's still there. Okay, so that's all well and good. I'm okay there. Do you guys do you like Cassius Howe or do you like TJ Parker? Santa said, get your boy to see how it plays out. Yes. I liked you. Okay, so now we wait the long game.
Okay.
Great tight end, not doing tight ends this year. Dante Corleone.
Are you still there? You got to take him.
I think I'm going to have to take him.
You got to take him.
So now we got our edge and we got that power nose. Yep. That's what I was selling out for. I honestly, I'd take Corleone over McDonald. I really would. Not saying McDonald's a bad player, but I just think Corleone is much more of a threat. He's stronger at the point of attack, and he's much more of an athlete than McDonald is.
Yep.
What's the trade down? Arizona Jets or Miami? I don't know. Honestly, I think it might be Arizona. But then again, the Jets came out and said that Geno Smith was definitely their starting quarterback this year. So he is probably smoke screening him and they'll trade up for Ty Simpson. Maybe. In which case, I don't trust Beane in the answering the phone because Beane will give him was fair for them, fair for us. And I want to fleece these suckers because they're in our division and you really need a quarterback.
Derek said, was Bud Clark there in the third?
Oh, we talked about that on the Cold Front show. Let's see. He was gone before we took him. He went at 123 to the Chargers. Okay. Wide receiver. Yes, it's time. This is what I did in the I do what I want thing. I took Jacoby Lane, and honestly, Kevin Coleman is one of my guys, but he's much later in the draft, so I can hold off on that. And Prennan is gone. Prennan should have been gone in the first round. Yeah, he's gone. He's been gone. Okay, so we're gonna go wide receiver here. At wide receiver, Reggie Virgil is actually really, really underrated. So I mean, I thought about Reggie Virgil. You're talking about what do you have here? He showing you to have 57 receptions for 705 yards and 6 touchdowns. That doesn't paint the whole picture. So I think at this round, Reggie Virgil he's a contender, but when Jacoby Lane is still sitting there, I am going to go with Jacoby Lane.
Okay. Jacoby Lane it is. How y'all liking this draft so far?
Daquan hates it. All right.
Daquan says anyone who does not pick a receiver first is Beane 2.0. That's crazy.
You cut me deep on that one, but that's okay. So let's see if we can
So
get.
are we consistent now with all the picks that we've had? Because who did you just take?
I did. I got them all.
Yeah. Okay. So Jacoby Lane. So we're gonna be looking for Chris Bell next.
Nah.
You don't think
I
he's
know
gonna be
better. No, even Derek's like, I'm in the third round. I'm like, but in my exercise, it made sense because I saw it late and it was fifth and it was my world.
All right.
Jeff Caldwell is calling my name. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy who 32 receptions in the senior year, was the junior year, 6 touchdowns, 478 yards. Not bad. 14 yards per 15 yards of reception. 20 yards a year before on 53 receptions, 104 targets, 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. So that right there tells me in the 5th round, we want to bolster that wide receiver room.
And look, he can learn to stop. Okay, he's still getting used to his body. The dude went from 5'8" to 6'5" in what, a span of 3 months?
Yeah,
like he can learn to stop. He's just got to get used to it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go Jeff Caldwell.
Yes. Got one of my guys.
Now, this is where I lost my mind. I think Zach Branch went in the 2nd round, honestly. But this is where I lost my mind when it came to Shout. He had him taking K. Klubnik.
What?
K. Klubnik is a terrible quarterback. Terrible quarterback. So we're looking.
Are you going quarterback at all in this draft, do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So we got an edge rusher. We got our inside lineman. We got 2 wide receivers. So now I'm going to look at a value pick. This is a value pick here. Now, before people ask me why am I doing that, Elam Orange, he fits right in with what we're trying to do. 89 tackles, 41 assists. He had 10 missed tackles. Yes, that's high. You can clean that up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about a guy who's playing behind somebody. In the 6th round, we're looking at players that are going to truly compete to maybe overtake the person ahead of them. Potential wise, Elam Orange fits in Leonard's scheme. He fits as that Mike. So he's going to be the kind of guy that run fills in when you go into a mint front, when you go into that concept, he's going to fit the gap and flush the running back out of the B gap to a waiting star or Terrell Bernard if he's on the field. So I'm going to go Caleb Elam Orange here. Now with where are we at? 6th round. This is where we're like, all right, this is all found money right now. A lot of people like Caden Curry. Caden Curry to me reminds me of the typical try hard defensive end edge from Ohio State.
Like Landon Jackson, basically.
Like Landon Jackson.
So I'm gonna be punting this football again.
You were probably punting the football.
Okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, what are we looking for right now? We're looking for somebody who can be a backup guard, but also a center. Who won the Heisman last year? Fernando Mendoza.
Yes.
How good was their offense? So why not go ahead and grab his center? Pat Coogan. I have Pat Coogan going at guard or center. They're going to try him out either way it goes. I know he's listed as a center, but right here, this is prime real estate. Now, what do you guys want to go now? I can tell you, we could look at safety, but I don't think that's a big issue right now. We got guys on the roster who can flip back there if you need to, which I am happy with the safeties we have as is. With Geno Stone, with CJ Garner-Johnson, with Cole Bishop. You could flip. Don't forget about Hancock. He's still on the team. Royce at quarterback. All right, just because Royce at quarterback, let's see what we have at quarterback. Let's see who's still there.
Steve said Baron Morton if you want a QB.
Baron Morton.
Sam says Reed Adams.
Baron Morton is actually not bad. He's actually not bad. But I feel like you could get him you might be able to get him in a priority free agent.
You playing the Brandon Beane game? I'm not going to draft him now. I'll take
him. I mean,
guy.
What about, we forgot about our guy here. We forgot about him.
Taylor Green?
Yeah. We forgot about Taylor Green.
Okay.
But that's a kicker. Jalen Daniels. Steve, I didn't like Jalen Daniels. And it's not that he was horrible. It was just that out of a Lance Leipold offense, I expected more. They don't feel the best offense. So I won't hold that against him. He did the best of what he could. We need a kicker.
I'm looking at what Daquan said.
He said malpractice? Jesus.
All right, let's bring that back. Where was it?
We're gonna go just because Daquan said that. We're gonna go with let's see, where can we go? We can go with quarterback. And I'm gonna say Taylor Green.
Okay.
Taylor Green
it is.
And Derek, the thing I don't like about was it Jeffrey Allen or whatever it is? The thing I don't like about him is he never kicked in a Division I game. He's never kicked That's
the kicker or the quarterback?
The kicker. He's never kicked in Division I. He's a kickoff specialist.
Taylor Green is?
No. That Jeffrey, that kicker that everybody likes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he ran a 4.5. He kicked a 70-yarder. But if you watch his technique, his motion, he's got a lot he's got to clean up. So when it comes to a guy that you're looking at backing up a 41-year-old kicker and a guy that's took a pay cut to stay here, I need somebody that's a little more proven. Now, I think you can get him as a priority free agent because he's never kicked. A team that has a luxury of a kickoff specialist may snatch him up, but if you want to get a look at him, you have a good shot at it.
Steve said, "What the?"
Yeah.
Apparently, you screwed up.
I
here.
angered him.
You were supposed to get Bo Stevens when you got Jacoby Lane.
Yeah, nah, I'm good.
No, you good?
I'm good on that.
All right. So here is keys. Let's stretch this out a little bit. Actually, is this showing? Yeah, it's showing. It's not showing all of them.
You just got stroke. Yeah, you just got. Don't see it right.
Yeah. All right. So right there. There. Bam. Okay. Okay, there it is. That is Key's first mock draft of 2026. Cassius Howell, Dante Corleone, Jacoby Lane, Jeff Caldwell, Caleb Burns, or Pat Coogan and Taylor Green. Get some young blood in here at the quarterback spot. Josh is just going to have to eat that. I'm sorry. If I'm taking Taylor Green in here, I'd much rather pay him than pay Kyle Allen. Or at the very least, let both of them stay on the roster and just go that route. But I like it.
My picks, let's see. Sinke said how many? No, not Sinke. I'm sorry. Vanessa, how many of my picks would be starters? I think Cassius Howell would be a starter. Well, let's put it like this. Should be starters and will be starters because they got money in Bradley Chubb. They're not going to take Russo off the field. They got Bradley Chubb and they have Michael Hoyt eventually. So I don't think that Cassius Howell is going to get a fair shot at
some real love here as GM. Okay,
I'm trying.
I'm trying. Yeah, I like that.
And what I noticed about PFF, don't look at the grades, and I'm not saying that because they're low, but if you don't pick the player that's the top player available, they're going to give you a low grade.
Okay.
Like what?
Yeah,
because I got mad. You know, I noticed because I got mad one day because I put them all into a mock draft, and it gave me like B's, D's, and C's.
Yeah.
I'm like, the hell with you. So I said, you know what, next time I'm just going to push the top one every time. I had like 5 quarterbacks. it was like A+. I said, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here.
You know what's funny about that, though, is that doesn't that kind of fly in the face of what Brandon Beane is talking about, selecting best player available?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how could it possibly be best player available? It like when you clearly can't do that. Otherwise, you end up stacked at a particular position that you don't need or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it goes. Like, not that mock drafts have to be a reflection on real life, but I just think it's very interesting how the AI program that does the mock draft stuff with you, when you just select the top player available, regardless of position, regardless of need, or whatever the case is, you usually end up with a draft that is not as favorable for the team build and what the team is trying to do in the future, as opposed to, we're going to get guys that we want to develop. We're going to get guys that we think fill future positions for us. And the reason I'm being very specific about the words I'm using here is this is all stuff that Brandon Beane could say.
Yeah.
We're going to get guys that fill positions of need for the future, and we're going to continue to develop our team in the way that we want to see it develop over the next few years. Some of these guys may play now, some of these guys may not, but we're going to see who pushes their way through in training camp, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Like that is the most perfect way to just be honest while still doing what you're going to do anyway, as opposed to saying, well, we're just going to get the best player available. No, best player available is what you did.
Yeah.
And you ended up with 4 quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not.
Like, how does that
okay.
work? So the answer for Desh's question, Cassius Howell, I think on pretty much any team, he would be a starter. Dante Corleone will free up that one. So, I mean, if you had Corleone at 6'1", 330 with Deion Walker next to him at 6'7", 345, and Ed Oliver in your big front, oh my God. Then you got Cassius Hall coming off one side, Bradley Chubb or Rousseau coming out the other. Oh my God. So that'd be 2 people I think could start day one. One of these wide receivers, I think, in an honest competition, could take a starting spot from Joshua Palmer. Keon Coleman, I don't think is in the running. Elam Orms, I think you would see him early on in his career with regards to like a sub package. You can see him as a let's see, how can I put this? In a tight front. And what that really means is all tight fronts are all the linebackers are lined up right behind their corresponding defensive line. So your 4-eye, you got their outside linebacker lined up right behind them. You got your middle linebacker right behind your 0-1. You got your other linebacker right behind your other 4-eye. So what happens is your defensive line is supposed to keep them safe so they can roll and stay with their responsibilities without having to worry about getting to shed blocks. Pat Coogan, that was a flyer I thought would be a developmental piece based on what I know about him in Indiana. He's very strong at the point of attack. He's not, not the most mobile, but he'll fit the bill. And Taylor Green, I think Taylor Green, like we talked about with regards to, I don't want to say the quarterback we said earlier. Who was it? I want to say Bryce, but it's not. Trey Lance.
Oh, Trey Lance.
All I'm thinking about is Bryce Lance, his brother now. But Taylor Green is like Trey Lance. He's that developmental piece. If he's working with Josh Allen and Josh Allen came from the slums basically of quarterbackhood, you could bring in this guy with this kind of talent. He has, he's a better athlete. He's got a strong arm, but he has to learn how to read the field better. He has to learn how to read the field. And I think playing behind Josh, playing with Joe Brady, playing with regards to what's the offensive coordinator's name? Pat, what's his name? Yeah.
Oh,
McDonald.
No. Dag on it.
Right. Somebody in the chat.
What is this?
Drawing a blank. Help out.
How did we draw a blank on that? I'm gonna be mad when I find.
You will. Somebody say it in chat.
Pete Carmichael.
Jeez. Yeah, I think behind Carmichael, behind Allen, behind even if you're looking at Kyle Allen, he's been a starter in the league before. I think he can easily beat him out. You got Shane Bussell. I think it's here. Yeah. So I think one of those guys can easily be gone, and we have a guy that can play behind Josh Allen at some point within a year or so. I'm really high on this kind of draft. Can it get better? Sure. I mean, I would love to have had a cornerback somewhere. I would have loved to have had, maybe a safety, but we really didn't need a safety at the expense of Caleb Elam Orms. Pat Coogan is somebody I think, like I said, can give you that depth, so we don't have to worry about Alec Anderson and he might make Corbett expendable. So I like this as the first iteration. What's that?
I said or Cushenberry
Cushenberry as well.
SVPG.
Yep, could be his word. So I think this is the start. Maybe we'll do one of these leading up, and we'll talk about the picks until draft. But yeah, I think I'm happy with what I got here.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think what's funny about this is just somebody in the chat said we're definitely not taking 2 wide receivers back to back. Oh, here was Derek. They won't be able to bring. Yeah, definitely not with those 2 receivers.
Sorry,
somebody else said.
Yeah, I saw somebody say we're never. Was it Roy? Maybe.
Was it earlier? Maybe. Oh, wait, no.
Derek. Here it is.
Where?
Oh no, that was the same one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hold on, I saw it too. I don't remember where it was. Keep going.
No, I don't think it was that far back. Yeah.
Somebody said we're definitely not taking 2 wide receivers back to back, or Beane's not doing 2 wide receivers back to back. Yeah. I know, but he also took 2 defensive ends back to back, and then followed it up by taking 2 offensive tackles back to back. So
very true.
I mean, at some point, let me get a picture of that before you do. I'll write it down. Actually, it's on the show. We have a show now, y'all. We have a show. I can just rewind it.
It's already recorded.
I'll be damn.
I wrote the names down. If you
cool. Yeah, I mean, I'll do better at having my notes available to tell you in depth what each one of these guys do. But yeah, I think for the on the spot deal, that was actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
But I think. Did you have anything else?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where is it? So, okay.
I made sure not to drink all my water just in case.
So this is actually quite interesting. I like. Did you get a chance to see the flag football game?
No, I didn't watch the flag football game. I know about it, but I watched it.
Okay, so apparently the NFL players didn't do so great in that game.
Yeah,
and it kind of became this like really shocking thing, like this world shaking thing where it's like, yo, you didn't expect NFL players to struggle so mightily in a flag football game. It's like people thought, okay, well, football's football. You should be able to think the game, dominate, all that kind of stuff, right? It didn't end up that way, right? And I mean, anyway, I'll just get to the point. The NFL partners with TMRW Sports and world-class investors and athletes to launch new professional flag football league. Okay. This significant investment committed to fund the new league for women and men, backed by a broad and influential investor pool. Investors include NFL clubs, Pro Football Hall of Famers, current and former players, institutional capital, and leaders from the sports and entertainment world. All right. The NFL announced today that it is partnering with the TMRW Sports, with TMRW Sports to develop and operate a professional flag football league for women and men. The new professional football league will launch with support from a broad and influential investor pool, including NFL clubs, established institutional and strategic investors, and current and former NFL players. This initiative comes at a time of unprecedented global momentum for flag football as the sport experiences rapid growth, expanding commercial interest, and increasing engagement from prospective investment, media, and sponsorship partners. This surge reflects the significant long-term market opportunity surrounding flag football as it continues its transformation into a premier global sport. It's going to be in the Olympics in LA. It's this is a very big deal. You're going to so there's some players, driving the investment group supporting the launch of the league is a list of NFL legends and active players, including Pro Football Hall of Famers Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Larry Fitzgerald, as well as Tom Brady, Eli Manning.
Yeah, he can stay in flag football too.
I mean, why wouldn't the best quarterback of all time want to do that?
You're right. I know. Otto Graham should be up there somewhere. He's only like 110.
Wow. Justin Tuck is in here. Ryan Neese, Dahani Jones, Eric Armstead, Bobby Wagner, and Russell Wilson. Let's see. Including women's sport. Wait. Oh, so the women investors, Billie Jean King, Alana Kloss. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out if that's an I or
Santa
an L.
Claus is great. Nice.
Maybe. Alex Morgan and Serena Williams. Notable institutional investors. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna know those people. Yeah, so what's cool about this is gonna be something separate from the NFL, still supported by the NFL, but this is a separate product that they're now capitalizing on. Now, here's the from the genius part of it, I should say. From a global standpoint, this sport is going to get bigger than football could, and I mean American football. This sport is going to get, flag football is going to get bigger globally before American football can get big globally, right? I just found out today there's talk about a game in Italy, and they've already figured out the two teams that would play in Italy. So this is probably going to be for the 2027 season, right? So the NFL is constantly and consistently trying to expand its game to new countries and new locations overseas to become a global sport in the same way that football is. I'm sorry, soccer, I should say. But flag football being an Olympic sport, like I'm sorry, it's already going to be an Olympic sport. So for the next 4 years, the speed of growth that this game is going to go through, it makes a ton of sense for the NFL to do this right now. Like, this is a huge investment for the NFL. And even with what the NFL is doing with the UFL, I don't know if you watch UFL ball at all, but there's supposed to be like some real names going into the UFL now.
Yeah, half of our wide receiving core from like 3 years ago was on one team. Like, yo, what?
Right. You know, so like I guess it's just really cool to kind of see the game of American football kind of flourish in two different ways. You got your like, college is that that AAA ball, right? The UFL is gonna kind of be, double maybe I should change that. College might be AA ball now by the time the UFL is all said and done, because those are players that came out of college, got drafted or went into the NFL as UDFAs, and didn't make it. And so now they're, you know what I'm saying? So they, a lot of the guys in the UFL now are guys who a lot of them have some NFL experience. So I think UFL is going to be transitioning into that AAA level for the NFL. And then college will be that AA. They'll probably still draft from college. But I just think as more players from the NFL transition to the UFL, the level of competition is going to get better there than it could be in college. But to speak to the game of flag football, I mean, I played it. I love it. I like, this is kind of making me want to get back in shape to go back and play again.
Yeah, my knee's like, nah, fam, sit this one out. Like, I heard you loud and clear.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I think not just you, but I think you should, because if you love doing it, it's good for you. It keeps your weight down, gives you something to look forward to. It's a hobby. It's something, it's something fun.
Back when I played, there was like firemen and police officers and stuff like that. Like, they were in their 40s playing.
That's what I'm saying. If you can do it. I mean, like I said, I could rush. That's about it.
That's all we need.
That's about all I could do. I could rush.
All we need, bro.
Yeah, I just gotta find a bigger knee brace. Then we'll get the big conglomerate.
I don't want to hear nothing about no injury, no injury histories when it comes to the show.
I know.
If you bust a kneecap while we out there on the field,
like,
you know,
it's his fault. He told me I could do it.
You're sitting there with your leg up on the desk.
I got on the speaker right here. Like, man, he told me I could do it. He lied to me. But yeah, no, I think flag football is interesting. My son actually had a birthday party on Saturday, where they played. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. They played flag football at some establishment out by where we live. I forget the name of it, but yeah, it's like a big green field. I think it's mostly for soccer, but they had it sectioned off in like 4 or 5 different fields, and my son and his classmates got to play for about an hour and a half. And some kids really have some talent, and I think my son could be a rush kid. I don't think he would be a wide receiver or anything like that, but I think I could see him, offensive line or rush, because he's not fat. He's just bigger than other kids, and I mean, I don't know how to explain it. He's not a twig, but he doesn't have a gut. He's not like overly sized, but he's just bigger than other kids. But I could see a world where he gets in the 3-point stance, or he's in that rush linebacker out of 2-point stance and crack some skulls, or maybe be a left tackle or right tackle and get cracking. I can see it. I can see it for sure. Obviously, until you tear ACL at this point, in my need, ACL is the least of my worries. Yeah, I need Slim. You said I need Jax Briggs legs instead of arms. Yeah, probably at least one of them. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Over 40, getting hurt is way different than getting hurt. I wouldn't know because I ain't got hurt in my 40s. Now I'm not doing. And Laura, I played basketball for 10 years, so I can't. My ankles roll. They don't even pop anymore. Neither one of them. They won't pop. They just roll and they swell, but they don't do anything else. Yeah.
I'm getting the itch, man. I might do it.
I think I should train you.
Really?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down. Let's do it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, y'all about to watch the transformation happen. It's official.
When he gets abs, I'm gonna be pissed though.
You saw me close before. You saw
Yes.
like when I lost, I think it was like 60 pounds or something like that. I can do it.
I lost it and I drank beer and COVID actually COVID happened. That's really what it was.
Back.
Yeah.
Got it right back.
Lil Key's got to find his way. You're right. And I hope his way is not in any sport, because I like him to have all his joints, and every day he sees me walking, Dad, you good? Let me figure it out first. Hold on, son. I got to figure this out. Airman's ever broke a bone before?
No, I've never broken a bone
Why'd you
before.
do that? Why you put that juju?
What?
Not you,
I
him.
ain't worried about breaking a bone. No, so I did get injured playing flag football. I think I told the story before, but I was talking stuff to this one wide receiver on this team, and the whole team was about, sick of me talking stuff. And I mean, at the time, I'm younger. I was probably in my 20s. Yeah, I was in my 20s at that point in time. So, my late 20s, I'm talking stuff, and our team was nice. We had a bunch of guys from like the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like guys that play, but like some of our boys was like, like guys from Riverside. That was
right.
Nice. You know what I mean? That, so anyway, long story short, I had talked so much stuff that one of the other receivers, for some reason, he lined up across from me, and the guy that I usually check lined up somewhere else. So I'm like, all right, no problem. So he runs a it's like a 10-yard dig or something like that, and I'm giving him about a yard worth of cushion. I'm playing corner at this point in time, and the quarterback throws the ball up high, and I just reacted. Like, I don't even remember thinking at that point in time. I just reacted. I undercut the route, and I got up and I got the ball. Now this dude was like 6', I think he's like 6'1", 6'2" or something like that, and I'm 5'11" and maybe 5'11" and a half, right? So I get to the ball before he does. I don't know if this was a setup or not, but
right.
The timing was too perfect, because I get up, I get the ball, and all I feel is hands around my wrist, and then I come down on my side, and I black out. Like the wind was knocked out of me. My leg hurt. Like it felt like I was in a car crash.
Yeah,
he slammed me down. Like I had the ball until my side hit the ground, and then all bets were off. But I couldn't play the whole rest of the season. Like my shoulder still to this day, I think there's something wrong with a ligament or something like that off of that.
Yeah, I'm home with you.
Yeah, I never got it looked at or anything. I just kept it moving.
Yeah, he hit you with that Jordan Palmer or that Jordan Poyer.
Yep. Video idea?
Oh, yeah, for training.
Yeah.
We can play the Rocky theme song in the back too.
Getting stronger.
Yeah. So I had to ask. I actually had this on the docket.
All right.
And I know we're going over. Everybody's like, yes, more PPP.
Never too much of a good thing here.
Never too much of a good thing. Let me see where it was. What was it? Okay. Got to close all my headings because I have a lot of stuff here. AJ Epinesa. Is this a start or something? How long was he signed to only not be signed in like 15 minutes?
It's like a week.
Yo, they was like, we got him. All his contract details exposed, 1 year to 2nd, 3rd. And they're like, you know what? I'm not liking these results. What results are they looking at? I mean, that's the thing I'm really curious about. What exactly they find? And was he hampered with it last year? I mean, because it's funny,
It's probably why the Bills let him go.
It could be. And that's why the Bills will bring him back.
Well, our doctors know him the best. I mean, he got the injury here, for crying out loud.
He's going to come back on a 1 year, $2 million deal. And Beane's going to be like, they're gonna have to come out with the sunglasses again and everything. Big baller Beane in it, because he made a call, he faxed something over to the Browns front office and said, "Nah, you don't want that. You don't want these problems." And then next thing you know, welcome back, open arms embrace.
Right.
If they brought him back, I mean, I didn't hate him, but I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to go forward.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, it's funny how this happened with Max Crosby, and now same division, Evanescence. I'm waiting for the next one. We kept the two dudes that had pads. We knew you were being suspended. We kept you.
Yep.
But these cats,
it's unbelievable. You can't God. I came in here determined to be nice today.
You did good. We won't say any names.
Right. We won't say any names. I came in here determined to be nice.
I knew it was an agenda because you were firing on all cylinders today. All cylinders.
I do think it's gonna happen, bro. Unfortunately, I do think it's gonna happen. I mean, if they made it work for Trent Sherfield, why not, bro? Like why not? Like it's like a it's just if we just sign 60 guys and throw them at camp, maybe we'll be better this year. Maybe one of these guys will pop a little bit more, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand the logic. I really don't. Using the justification of he makes our team better versus not having him is what they typically use for moves like this. Well, having him is better than not having anybody. Well, yeah. By that logic, get a dog.
Right.
Put a dog on the field.
Air Bud. What's Air Bud doing?
Right. Having a dog on the field is better than not having a dog on the field. Your Gatorade bottle over there on the sideline. Having a Gatorade bottle is better than not having a Gatorade bottle. You think?
I was thinking why. That's why I started laughing in my head. I said, "What if they brought back Jamarcus Ingram? What if they brought back Jamarcus Ingram? They got rid of him so McDermott gets fired and bring him back. That would be the best thing ever. This show is off the reels, but I don't care. What if they did this? It's like they're doing the most effed up things right now to prove a point. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm here for it. The last thought I had, and actually, not Sinke. Well, disregard. I had a thought when I was talking to somebody. I forget who it was. It might have been my friend on text message, but I said a while ago, we said defense has no holes. Now, when I think about what that means, is it that the defense really has no holes, or is it that we have no faith in them finding somebody to come in and be better? Is it that we've been lied to before? I'm getting you this time. Camera's only on me. Forget about the right side. We've been lied to by guys before, McDermott included. We're better. We're aggressive. We have this. We got that. We changed this. Beane said we're kicking at the door. We're going to run it back. I love the guys. Beane said we have a championship roster. So when they say they're going to try to find something, they usually don't. So is it that when we say we have no holes, are we happy because we don't trust them to get better? Or is it because we think, in my opinion, I think that the players that we had actually weren't as bad as we thought. It was just they weren't playing where they were supposed to. That brings me to like a Terrell Bernard, where it comes down to something as small as a tight front, which is still an odd front. It's still a 3-4. But when you bring in D. Alford, you bring in Geno Stone, if you're talking about even somebody like Avion Terrell, you are telling me you're investing in that nickel. The nickel is going to be on the field. So do these guys get better because of the scheme? Or are we just like, none of these guys are good regardless of where they played? We've seen them play well in other defenses. We've seen them play well in other establishments on different levels, college. These guys were all state. I see them looking at me. These guys are all state. They're all pro. I don't know how many All-Americans, because we don't have them in college, but they were good somewhere. So when I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about what is a major hole in the defense. I want to trust Jim Leonhard to actually do something we haven't seen in forever. Why? Because Jim Leonhard has done it at Wisconsin in a finite amount of time. You only get 2 years with the transfer portal. You only get 2 years with the draft. You only get, so you don't have a lot of time to cultivate players over a long period of time, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They got to go. But then I look and I'm like, we all thought the Bills are going to take one of Leo Chenal, Zach Bond, Nick Herbig, Keanu Benton. These guys were never anything great in the NFL, but they were people that Jim Leonhard created. They left him, and they were good. We wanted Leo Chenal because he was a free agent. He played under Jim Leonhard. It makes sense. So I bring to you today, why don't we sit here and say right now, there are no real holes until we see what Jim Leonhard said. I haven't heard him say anything. I haven't heard him really say or do anything that shows us that he has no faith. Because he sat down, if he's anything like a coach I want to have, he sat down and watched the film on the players that play. He said, okay, I can use him. Taron Johnson, I can't use him. That's evident by the fact they ate $9 million to get rid of the guy. They ate $9 million. So Jim Leonhard did have a say in this, and he has right now his best, I'll say to be fair, 8 to 10 players. Is he going to try to get better? Sure he is. But right now, I really think that we need to just sit here and let Leonhard cook. I'm gonna change cook because he got his money. He's an all-pro. Yeah, he's an all-pro.
Mm-hmm.
He's established himself as one of the best players on the team. I'm gonna move on him now. I didn't really think that much of Jim Leonhard as a player, but as a coach, from what I've seen on the college level, I want to give him a little grace. And knowing the fact that Beane knows him back in his mind, he can't screw this up because anything he does wrong is going to be like, oh, McDermott was right. He knows that. Anything he does is like, we're going to compare anything he does now and put it next to what he did with McDermott. And he wants everybody in Buffalo to say McDermott was trash. He was garbage. I'm glad we got Brady. Don't worry about the past. This is the future. And I think if he can do for Jim Leonhard, he will do for Jim Leonhard.
Go ahead and do the read, bro.
You all right?
I'm holding my breath.
I know. He's trying so hard.
I just got to get through these last few minutes.
Yeah, you do. McDermott played players out of position. Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he did. Big time.
Yep.
Big time. Did he play players that shouldn't have been on the field? Yes, he did. Big time. So, SDB said 425, baby. Actually, we might not be as done with that as you think. You might not be. Because all you got to do if you go into a speed, they actually can run a 4.25 out of this. If you can pull Bradley Chip up on the line, make it an even front. It's still a Leonhard variant. It's not something you're going to see often, but you'll see an even front, odd front. You'll see as high as 5. I think he's even done 6 every once in a while, a 6-man front, which is ridiculous. But I don't want to limit what they're going to do. The base is a odd man, 3-man front, but if they're doing what I think they're going to do with the mint, Corleone at nose tackle would be ridiculous. I think Deion Walker actually could get by with nose if you did the mint, because he's not running head up, he's running a slant to the B gap. He's not trying to win mano a mano. He's getting to a spot and drawing a double team that's opening up an A gap, which is what he's supposed to do. So it's a lot. It's a lot to wrap your mind around, and I think I want to give Leonhard the chance to show us what he's got.
I just want to say that I think Leonhard is a talented coach.
You don't know how much I'm loving this right now, y'all. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm loving this. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be a challenge for Jim Leonhard and his staff to produce the same results or better with the same roster.
Yes. More.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I it's just tough because to Tommy's point, he said we had some good position coaches. Buffalo chased them away. Defensively, I don't know about that. I know most of them didn't coach the position that they were, or they didn't play the position they coached.
They sure did not.
So that's error number one.
We could have still had a great safety coach.
Yeah.
And excuse me, and Bobby Babbage.
Yep.
He was elite as a safety coach.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a DB coach when he took that step forward. Like you still had a top tier guy there. We could have still had him. I'm not entirely sure what Jaleel Coach Adai, I forget his first name.
Jamel Adai. Jamel Adai.
Yeah, Jamel Adai. I'm not really sure what his impact was. It didn't seem to get better, primarily in the safety room until Poyer came in. So, that's a year with Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop, and then Poyer comes in the following season after Taylor Rapp gets injured and has looked terrible all season long, and Cole Bishop still looked like he was lost, and then Poyer comes in, and now all of a sudden you're getting better play out of Bishop. I think look, I don't expect this defense to take a major step forward from where they were last year, and where they were last year was probably the worst we've ever seen the defense play. And they were number one in pass defense. And that's saying a lot, because the guys that we added this year, in my opinion, are better options at safety for sure to pair with Cole Bishop. Getting Dorian Williams into the lineup, if that's what they end up doing, is definitely a better option, in my opinion, than Matt Milano was last year. The prospect of seeing TJ Sanders be a defensive end in this defense, I think, is a much better prospect than expecting him to be a top tier 3 tech last year. I think the same thing for Deion Walker. I'm not really looking forward to seeing him at nose, but if they do put him outside of defensive end, I would love to see him be in that role and being able to, rush and get up the field and be impactful and stuff like that. It's all going to be very interesting to see. And I think the defense will look more aggressive. I'm just not certain right now about whether or not it will be better. And I think I can't say definitively or not whether or not it's better until I see how they perform against top tier quarterbacks. Because it's not going to just be, well, let's see how they look the first couple of weeks of the season. No. How is this defense going to look in week 12
when there's tape on them?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to be so easy at the beginning of the season to get riled up and get caught up in the wave of, oh my God, we're attacking and we're blitzing from all over the place and we're getting sacks and we're doing this and that and the other thing. And then week 5 and week 6 hit and people figure us out. And we can't do the same things we used to do. Is Jim Leonard going to be able to figure it out? Is he going to have layers to his game to be able to come up with adjustments that catch other offensive coordinators and other offensive-minded head coaches off guard? Mm-hmm. This is his first time being a DC in the NFL at this level. So I'm not doubting that he is a very talented and a very smart coach. I typically don't bank on players who are being put out of position, and let's keep it a buck. All of these players, except maybe the ones they brought in this season, are going to be playing out of position. Greg Rousseau is not an outside linebacker. He's going to start there. He's listed as an outside linebacker right now, right? Deion Walker is not a nose tackle. He's listed as a nose tackle right now.
Until they get Corleone.
Hey, if that's what it is, then I'll be happier because then they can move Deion. But so many of these dudes, for what they want to do defensively from the corner position, Christian Benford doesn't fit that. He's not. Christian Benford needs to play in a zone-heavy scheme. He needs to play in a zone-heavy scheme. He is not agile enough. He's not fast enough. He is not quick enough. He doesn't have enough juice to play man coverage like that. You are going to have to protect him if you're going to go man coverage.
Yeah, I don't think Leonard really does. He's more of a zone guy. So,
did I say Leonard?
No, I'm saying Leonard's defense is usually more zone.
Oh, okay.
So,
is it?
Yeah.
I swore I saw Denver playing a lot of man last year.
No, his basic principle is mostly zone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more. They play more man than we play, but it's like 60% zone, 62 or 3%.
Okay. Well,
he might have upped that a little bit in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If Christian Benford's your one, it's got to be more like 75-80.
I can go with that. Yeah. No, you're right. See, my thing is, I am of the mind Dwayne Carter, TJ Sanders, Landon Jackson, those three. I don't know where you guys are gonna play. That's for you guys to figure out. Because in my mind, you're not here. You're really not. Right. You got Fedarian Mathis. You got these other guys. It means Zion Lowe can even be a nose over Deion. I want Deion outside. Or when they run a 2-4, Deion can play it at the 2-eye or whatever the case may be. Or if they run a mint concept where he's shooting to the B anyway, that works. But a base 3-4, no, not at all. Greg Rousseau, like we talked about before, he's got to be the 4-eye, unless you're in a mint concept where he's playing the fill linebacker to collapse the C. But then again, that's a tell. Defensive back wise, I think that's the only area where we probably be okay. I can see a world where if the front three do their job, Dorian Williams and or Terrell Bernard do well, but behind them, what is that? What does it look like behind them? Joe Andreessen, maybe, but I'm not going to bank on Joe Andreessen. Shaq Thompson, he's still waiting for that call, Beane. Josh, do it again. You said you had McGovern and Beane fellowship and hug, and then they made pizza and now they're on the team together. We need that on defense now. If for nothing else but depth. Shaq Thompson retweeted and responded. I'm waiting. I'm trying to come back too.
Yep. And then I think somebody said that Diggs is willing to come back now too. Where did I see that?
Yeah, I saw it as well.
Here it is. Videsh said Diggs said he's willing to come back to Buffalo now. So.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. Diggs is the kind of deal where he's going to wait till after the draft, and whatever he's got to clear up on his own personal life. If he's got stuff he's got to do there, he's going to do that. But I think he wants to see where he can get the most playing time. And right now, Buffalo is premier. Diggs and DJ Moore would excite me a lot more than Diggs and anybody else.
Yeah.
That would excite me to high heavens.
Yeah.
But what does that look like? How do we pull that off? What does Brady do with both of them? That's the thing. Because Diggs is probably the one player you can't bring back to Buffalo and say you're a bench player.
Yep.
Because he was trajectory-wise, he was the best wide receiver in Bill's history. Not Andre Reed, not Eric Moles, who was my guy, Tommy. We talked about it. History. So forget the drop. Forget that stuff. But think about the full body of work. Where would we have been in those years without Diggs, without what he did for other players in the wide receiver room on the field? DJ Moore and Diggs. DJ Moore don't need Diggs to do DJ Moore stuff at this point in his career. Diggs don't need DJ Moore to do the Diggs stuff at this point in his career. They both are independent, but working together, with a 30-year-old Josh Allen that's mature enough to hopefully command the offense and say, Dig, shut the hell up. We've been here before. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Everything. And that's what moves the needle. You know, Von Miller, do you bring Von Miller back on a vet men deal so it can be the peso? All that is the pass rush specialist. Do you do that? I mean, I'd rather do that than bring Epinesa back.
Right. Senke says if Strong comes back decent, he'll beat out Benford. Listen, Dorian Strong is dealing with what Eric Wood was dealing with that caused him to retire.
Yeah.
And Dorian Strong is dealing with that right now, and probably to a stronger degree than what Eric Wood. Like, basically, Eric Wood had the option of having the surgery, and him being at the end of his career, he kind of chose not to, right? Dorian Strong is still young. Dorian Strong is still young enough to do a lot of stuff with his life, health-wise. And in that position, I might be more willing to just lean on my education at that point and try to do something different, do something else. Like, yeah, he had a taste of the NFL, and yeah, it was looking like he was going to get his shot, but that's a neck injury, bro. Like that's a vital spot. Like, it's not like like there's a laceration in a kidney or something like that, and I could choose to get rid of it, but I'll retire now. Like, no. If you take one more bad hit, you may not walk, my guy. And then how you gonna take care of yourself? How you gonna take care of your family? You know what I mean? That kind of paycheck ain't worth it. So I don't think Strong is going to be coming back, to be quite honest. I think not that we need to definitively count him out, but again, an injury like this usually does not turn out well for an NFL player, especially coming back. Yeah. Steve says, I go in cheering for us to go far, but I see that it's Josh in the 7th or 6th roster, so I generally expect to lose in the divisional without an exceptional coach. I'm not surprised, just disappointed. Say, God will do it, DJ Khaled voice. Yeah, you know what? That is absolutely one thing that I'm hopeful for. Right? Because again, it's hope is built on a promise. Right? And I'll just put this out there. Y'all can believe what y'all want to believe, but the reason that I believe that God is real is my mom had a very bad accident in our first apartment when I used to live on Main Street. This is before I knew you. And she could barely walk. Like, I had to help her, with everything pretty much, in the bathroom, all that, right? And we was at the service one night, and she went up, and they prayed for her, they laid hands on her, whatever, and she got healed. Like, she stood up, she ran around the sanctuary and all that. Like, I hopped out of my chair, I'm like jumping over people trying to go chase my mom down and all, and we just cried. Yeah, but like seeing that stuff in real life is like, yo, like how does that happen? Like, she could barely walk, now she running around this joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, that really happened in my life, so I truly do believe that something like that could happen for Dorian Strong, and no doubt. I have no doubt. But I mean, to try and keep it football without getting religious in any way, I just I would prefer if Dorian Strong would take the safe route and just choose another path instead of putting himself at risk.
Yeah.
I'm getting what? I'm deeper than just football, bro.
He's getting soft.
I go a lot deeper than just football. I'm a marriage coach. I'm all kind of stuff. So
I've only seen Key almost cry. Yeah. Hey, you don't know, but you've seen a couple times.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. All right. Do we have anything else?
I mean, not really. I was just thinking of all the goodness of the Lord and all the goodness of running around. Now, see, the thing about church stuff. The one thing, you shouldn't have drank. I'm gonna wait. Wait.
Okay.
Because when you told the story about your mom, I said that church was right. Because how many churches you ever seen a dude get up in the front and start running around and they're like, that's Brother Franklin. He used to be a crackhead. I don't need you to tell about that. That's bad. That's a dark time in his life. Nobody needs to tell you. that you used to be on that work. Just know where I'm going, not where I came from.
Right.
But I know where you are going is to get another swig with that Reese.
No doubt.
Now, you go to church, you take communion, you go to church, you do it. But what we do is we bask in the Reese. You should too. I mean, it's a small bottle. Why would you take that home? Don't go to Delta Sonic and get that. Get more of them. At least 6. Maybe even 8. Whatever you want to do. Just not that. That's pathetic. Look how he's holding it. His hand is as big as the thing. You can't do that with a case. Get yourself something you got to hold with 2 hands. Hug it. Embrace it. Make it like your own. Because it is. It's PPP's own. Reese tea. 4 ingredients. Delicious. Refreshing. 2 parts healthy. No fillers. All tea. No sodium.
That's it.
Head to the description and the link below.
Spring water.
Oh, spring water.
Pure cane sugar.
See, I use tap myself.
Lemon juice from concentrate.
I use that Domino sugar. The lemon juice. That's interesting.
And black tea.
Got to have tea in there somewhere.
That's it.
The blacker the berry,
The
sweeter the
sweeter
juice.
the juice.
Get you some juice.
Yeah. All right. We
Head
got
to the
it.
store. Get yourself Delta Sonic, participating stores. Or just cut to the chase and go right to the middleman.
Yep.
The dispensary himself. Description and link below. No, I, A, and you know they're here, and we sent you there.
All right. We're going to try to play the music this way.
Wait, what? You can't get in Toronto. You got to come
Can't
over the
cop in
border.
Toronto.
Come across the border. I'll slide it to you at the Peace Bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll even
that's
pay the
interesting.
tax.
I got to ask about that.
I'll even pay the tax and get it back across.
Yeah, I gotta ask about that. That's kind of weird. I thought if it was online, you should be able to get it anywhere. I'm gonna ask about that. I will get it figured out for you by Friday. I will have an answer. I promise you. Okay. We'll definitely get that figured out. Yeah, Rich. Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna be his hands laid
Yo, it's funny because he was just here at the studio. We was talking shop.
today.
No, this was last Thursday, I think.
That's funny. That bottle was here too.
Yes, which is crazy, right? Because remember, I looked before we left Friday, and it was there.
Mhm.
Yeah, bro, it's a whole nother bottle in here. I could have just gave it to you. I ain't even think to check. That's my bad.
Alas, he
My
didn't.
bad. Right. So, but yeah. So I mean, he was here. He was here and didn't even know. Steve said it looks like a flask in my hands. I'm not gonna pat myself on the back for my hand size. I'll just Anyway,
If the gloves don't fit, you
why
must
your
have quit.
fingers look like that?
That's how OJ did it. That's how he got away with it. He did this.
Well, Your Honor, if the gloves don't fit, I guess. Oh my gosh! Can you just pull it? Just pull it down. No, I'm trying. Your Honor, I'm sorry. It's not working. It's not working. Rich said Paul. Oh my gosh! All right, look, I really appreciate everybody for sticking with us.
Yeah, it
We
was fun. A
went
long time.
well over. We did
Yeah, we did.
over an hour over. This
Yeah, we
is
did.
this is great. I know Tommy was getting nervous. Like, y'all better not go past 9 o'clock,
We're not
mother
gonna go into
effers.
your show, Tommy. I promise you.
Right. So we gonna cut it short right here. We gonna jump ship. Listen, if you have not done so, Laura's asked everybody a few times in the chat there, help us out. Right? On live shows, the thumbs matter more than the subs. We'll take both, but we have to ask for both just as well. If you have not done so already, give us a like. All right. That lets the algorithm know that we need to be pushed out there. That is what helps us grow. The more we grow, the more we can do of this, the longer we can go. Maybe we do more days, whatever the case may be. Listen, both of our dreams is to be able to do something like this full time and not have to work regular jobs. Like, that would be the dream. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously you still keep your airport job.
I would do that just for 3 more years.
Right. So help us out with that goal. That's the, like, if we could just do that, that would be the dream. All right. And you can be a part of that. The other way that you can help with that benefits you is hitting that subscribe button that puts this on your homepage and make sure that you don't have to do any unnecessary searching for our channel or anything like that. Whatever we put out is going to be right there available for you as soon as you go on YouTube on whatever device you use. The one way that benefits you the absolute most is if you hit that bell, make that thing so that you can get notifications when we send notifications, like every single time we put out new content, every time we go live. If you're a member, you'll get notifications for membership content. All of that stuff is available to you if you hit that bell. You got to get in the loop. You got to keep yourself in the know when it comes to PPP, because there are so many things coming. It's going to blow your mind. And you are going to be so happy that you stuck around for it and kept that bell on to be notified for it as well. Okay. So thank you once again to everybody that tuned in and stuck with us this whole entire time. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis.
For the keys.
Y'all have a great night. Peace. Ooh, gotta move that. And bam, bam.